Tell us the basics to start.
Yes, so this is $30 budget vintage. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is the vintage banned and restricted list. It's 1v1 games, but your entire deck has to cost less than $30 on TCG Market. That means that a lot of strategies that are really powerful and old are shockingly affordable. Things like High Tide or basically Legacy Burn.
I love the Oops All Spells list. I was just looking at that again today. We've got some nice mid-range lists in today's event.
I gotta be honest, Scuffle, I haven't had a spare second to look at anything that people are playing. I'm very, very excited to.
We have a lot of like the classic decks that we see in Spell Table, but we also have a few new brews because we got a lot of new blood for this event. Very cool.
If
Um,
anyone in chat wants to check it out, I'm posting a deck list link in there. It should have
oh,
everyone's
thank
deck
you.
lists.
Oh, awesome. Let me pull this up. So everybody can go ahead and find their opponent. And remember, the name on the left is the name that makes the room. The name on the right is the name that joins the room. And we're using regular MTGO timers here. So whoever uses all their time up. Rusty and I are your judges. So if you have an emergency, come in Discord and shout at us. If you can't reach us here, go ahead and join the stream. And use the stream chat, but it's going to be a good event. We are here for troubleshooting. So if you don't have your opponent within 5 minutes, let us know. Today is going to be a 5-round event. And when you finish your match, you're welcome to come to the stream. When your match is done, you can come to the stream and check things out. If somebody joins your stream on Discord, if you're streaming on Discord, we are assuming that means that you want to show up on the stream in the match. And if you hear a boop and it seems like someone other than us joined your stream, you come and let us know. Because if your opponent is using your stream to peek your hand, that's cheating, and we want to know about it. I think that's all the rules.
I think that you're right. Let's go over stakes quite briefly.
Oh, yes.
What are our players playing for today? And can our players hear us right now?
They can hear me. I don't know if they can hear you.
I'll unmute me and they'll deal with the double. So what are our players playing for today, Scuffle?
All right, so today we have 10,000 Magic Arena gems. If you don't play Arena at all, I'll work out something with you from my prize wall, and we'll get those gems to want someone you can sponsor. If you manage to come in first place, Rusty here has put up a Fate Reforged Fat Pack on top of that.
I've been trying to give this bad boy away for months, so I'm
That's a
very
great
excited that we're finally
prize.
shipping it.
I mean,
It's a good prize, right?
It's pretty rare. It's like $60, and there's fetch lands in there. Fetch lands are big. Fate Reforged is also just a great set. I was just watching Servo earlier play some Whisperwood Elementals out of Fate Reforged.
In this format?
No, in Pioneer.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It was pretty fun. Okay, I have to duck over here. So let's take a quick look at Troy.
Okay.
Hey, March. Yes, Ugin is also in it.
We should both be muted in the players' meeting. Are you muted?
Yes, I am now muted in the players' meeting. I'm not. I can't mute. I don't know why I won't. Now I'm muted in the players' meeting. I don't know why it wouldn't let me.
Oh shit! Should players be breaking out into the tables? I guess it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. What if they want
to chat?
I know, Thane. I peeked at this matchup. So we've got, I think this is J1. Might be Samson. One sec. No.
Hey, players, if you want to break out into the tables below so you can chat with just your opponent, you're welcome to do that. We have, it looks like pretty close to enough.
It is optional.
All right, so what are we looking at here? Let's focus on the games now that I think we're functional.
Okay, so everybody, let me know if there's any issues, if you can't hear anything. So Troy is running a variant on Servo's Affinity list, and he was very excited to tell me. He was very excited to tell me about his Nettlecyst edition because Nettlecyst recently dropped in price, and he can fit it in.
Okay, yeah, that's a big deal. Your stream manager is showing, by the way, assuming you're okay with that.
I am okay with that. Oh, so you're seeing something slightly different.
Oh, okay.
Than what everybody else is. Yeah, no worries.
Your whole life.
Yeah, you are seeing everything that anybody is seeing. I am going to change this just a little so that people see something a little more concise.
Yeah.
Here we go. That looks right.
But yeah, I mean, Affinity is a good deck. Servo's cleaned up quite a few online tournaments with it.
Hmm.
I think there might be as many as 3 or 4 copies here tonight. I loaned one out to Infinity. I don't. I think that's what Servo's playing.
Oh my god! But
Um,
we have on the other side of the table a provoke sliver. That is Hunter Sliver. Do you know what provoke does, Rusty?
it forces something to attack.
No,
Maybe.
it forces something to block. It says whenever all slivers have, whenever this creature attacks, untap target creature. That creature blocks this turn, and
And
flanking, and flanking.
so if it blocks, it'll get minus. Now, will it have to block? It'll just block one sliver, right?
So yes, the choice is on the provoker. The person with provoke gets to choose to target each creature.
So then what's going to happen is because of 2 copies of
It's
flanking,
so good.
it's going to shrink the creature by 2. Oh,
Cloud Cutter Sliver. So this is a Marty Slivers deck. Slivers have it flying in haste. Unfortunately, that means they can't force the creatures to block anymore.
yeah, and I think that's the Slivers player just saying, we're going to race, and I'm going to win that race.
It's a bold claim against an Edelcyst.
That's true, and as we can see, it's backed up by a cranial plating, so this could get interesting. Um,
That is
but
5 artifacts to go with the plating.
depending on what our Slivers player has, I think that's Kirby Sliver. I don't actually know who that is. Depending on what they have in hand, if they have 1 or 2 +1/+1 slivers,
See,
they could be in a very good position.
the problem is those are the most expensive slivers. Then you slivers like a $2 card.
All right, Scuffle, I've got a request because I just went looking for the Slivers player. Can we just check the matchups right now? Because I stepped over and I see a crazy deck. Can we just go down the
Sure.
players meeting of streaming and see what's going on?
No problem.
Oh my god, Big Purr's doing something crazy.
All right. So really quick, let's see. We've got Servo on Affinity
So
versus.
Scuffle, go to the players meeting tab and start at the top, I think.
So I don't have them in the same order as you do.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fine. I'll let you drive and I'll follow
Big
you.
Purr?
Yes, if you can find Big Purr, it's crazy.
What is happening here? Is that a song of creation?
Yes. So 4-mana enchantment. Every time he casts a spell, he draws 2 cards, but he discards his hand at the end of the turn.
So he has to
It
go
looks
out
like
right away.
he's playing it in what looks like a Nick Fit shell. That means Veteran Explorer plus Cabal Therapy. Really cool. That fixes for it, ramps to it, and I think we're flashing back that Cabal Therapy. So on your combo turn, it's actually a free spell that then gets you untapped lands.
Yeah, he's phasing down High Tide. It looks like he hit some with the Cabal Therapy. Oh my god. Is he trying to Thought Scour the Song Creation deck? Just how many cards are left in the Song Creation deck's library?
I think 3, maybe 2.
Oh my god, is this a lethal Thought Scour? If there's a Song of Creation trigger on the stack, this is a lethal Thought Scour.
I think that it's not quite though.
Oh, because he had to do it in response to the therapy.
But that actually means that
Thane.
depending on how he's planning to make mana, he may only be able to cast 1 more spell without decking, right?
Yeah.
So if his plan was to say like Mana Morphos into a Thassa's Oracle, I actually don't know what the win con is.
Well, so I think it's going to be something he gets with that Glittering Wish, which grabs a multicolor card from outside of the game. Which means that if he's trying to Glittering Wish for his win condition, he has to kill. He has to kill the High Tide player with the Song of Creation trigger on the stack. But he only has 1 card left after the Thought Scour. If he casts a spell, he loses.
His win condition is Master the Way. It's a 5-mana sorcery from Cons. It's blue-red. Draw a card. Master the Way deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of cards in your hand. Oh, he's got a Grape Shot on
He does have a Grape Shot, but he's going to die to the Song of Creation before the Grape Shot.
No, he can stack his triggers.
He can!
Let's go!
So the 22 Grape Shots resolved, then he draws 2 cards and would die, and then the 23rd Grape Shot resolves. So, like, 2 Force Spikes here. That saves the game.
Yeah?
But I don't think he has it. I don't know who's on the other side of the table. This is hot.
All right, so that's crazy. What else can we find?
All right, let's just go down the list.
Yeah, you lead the way, my
All
friend.
right, looks like we have a Blazing Shoal on a Cacophony Scamp on the other
With
side of Servo's tokens table.
and I see a Tainted Strike.
Oh my god, this is lethal.
Yeah, because it's got Infect. So he said, you know what? Infect creatures aren't good enough. It's bounced. Servo with the sideboard technology.
Oh my god, one machine over matter was all it took to disrupt a 12 infect damage out of nowhere.
And that must have been game 2 because Machine Over Matter is a sideboard card, so they're going to game 3.
All right, what's Dingus on today? Looks like Dingus is playing. I see a weathered Waystone.
So he's playing that lands deck
Oh,
that
that's
right.
right.
Weathered Waystone's it's in the sideboard, and he's trying to drag. He should be clicking.
His opponent drew a card and discarded a Phasmagorian. Which
is that Hadel? It's Hadel, isn't it?
Maybe.
It's Hadel on Dredge, and he just conceded to Graveyard.
All right, so this is J1 on the Slivers deck. Very happy about that. J1 is the moderator of the Slivers Discord.
Okay.
And so this is the other side of that match we were just watching with Troy. And it looks like he is post-board Harmonic Sliver, which is just fantastic against Affinity.
Is that the naturalized sliver?
It is. Every slivers you control have disenchant.
I
love this Hunter Sliver. Like, Troy's deck is fast, though. If Troy doesn't, like, Troy can get this, and we're looking at the power of slivers is generally the ability to have a toolbox out of the board. But this Harmonic Sliver, like, we're seeing the weakness of this mana because J1 has to decide between Leeching Sliver, Cloud Shredder Sliver, and Harmonic Sliver. Aether Hub only makes one colored mana.
Oh, that's a good point. So yeah, and there's
16 damage coming by.
And a Nettlecyst. This is a problem.
This is only turn 3. This is just what a Soul Ring hand does in Affinity.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see the Soul Ring. That's tough.
Yeah. Like, without the Soul Ring, basically J1 only has one more turn, but that's a big difference. But J1 gets to untap, disenchant the Ornithopter, and then I think J1 needed to just take 16 there, but there was a Vault Scourge.
I don't know. This seems like a really tough situation.
Yeah. Like, if J1 could have had one more turn. So J1 was on the draw, which means that he did end up taking the last game. So they're about to go to game 3.
Okay. And so this is minor, but do you want to put the size of the tournament in your Twitch title?
Oh, that is good.
Because 21-person tournament is kind of insane. Have you ever gotten 21 people to do anything? I guess you specifically have, but most people haven't.
That's true. Some wrangling. We had 21 players, so we do have 21 players in today's event.
So, looking at this Slivers player's hand, if his Harmonic Sliver doesn't die, he doesn't have to chump block here. He actually can't even chump block because of the way flying works. I think he's only going to be able to play one Sliver next turn. Unless
if he draws a land and gets a disenchant twice,
he needs either plains or swamp.
He does have secluded, like, he's got secluded courtyards. He has he has 8 cavernous souls. It's really too bad. Oof, not the color he needed.
Really hurting here. So he's got 1 naturalize, so you can hit like.
It does keep him alive, just hitting the plating though.
You're correct. Yeah, he's gonna have to block the Sojourner's Companion, probably with Predatory Sliver, and take 1 from the Vault Scourge. If Troy Monster doesn't rip anything here, of course.
That's a rip. All right, game 3. All right, we'll duck in at the end of that.
But you know what we always say about top decks, right? If a top deck wins you the game, it means you were close to winning the game.
Yes.
Right? Like,
trying to get rid of this event pop-up.
Now, Scuffle, how do you feel about slivers as a deck?
I do love slivers. I'm so glad that he's playing it. Like the mana, you can see that the mana is hurting him because you can also see the where J1 here was really hurting for this last few dollars in the sideboard.
Yeah, I will say, Cloud Thresher Sliver got reprinted recently, right? It used to be kind of big money, and now it's a lot
Yeah,
cheaper.
I think they put it into Time Spiral Remastered for some reason. I want to jump over to Samson's match. So
I
Samsoni is streaming right now.
Yeah, I'd love to check out Doug and Eddie as well.
All right, so it looks like he's against. So he's running. Oh, Mardu spells.
Oh, that's Samsoni? Let's
Yeah,
go. Okay. I see
Samsoni is
plain
a
Bevel
pioneer, modern, and legacy grinder.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
streams
yeah,
quite often. Also a
yeah.
good guy.
What's going on, Marchapane? Good to see you here. I think I missed saying hello earlier.
Marchapane is Thane. Also, I don't know if you were aware.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You gotta
Thane's
love when
better.
you have to claim that firstborn ornithopter. Because Frogmite costs 4.
Yeah. Why didn't we take the Signal Pest though? Doesn't the Signal
Because
Pest have
I think he
that
just
would
wants to
Anthem
take
or
it after. I do think that he wanted the Signal Pass instead, but I think he's trying to get rid of the ornithopter.
Oh, does he have a method? Oh, he's got a Village Rights. Okay, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah,
And look at that, claim plus village rights. That's a powerful combination.
it's pretty good.
Unfortunately, oh, see, if he had taken the pest though, it would have given +2 or would have given +1 power to his team. So his
Hmm.
Dreadhorde Arcanist would trade with the Frogmite here, but it's not going to.
Yeah, you might be right, but I think maybe he just has ways to ping. Like he does know his deck better than we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely don't think that it's incorrect. It's just, and I think that he's still in a pretty good position here. I can't actually see all the resources players have. I don't know how many cards in hand everywhere.
So it looks like Budget Vintage Enjoyer. Is that Servo?
No, that's Infinity on my one of my accounts.
Okay, so Infinity's got 0, and Samson
Okay.
has, well, 5.
Yep. Well, keep in mind the
Oh,
one thing
sorry,
Infinity.
poet.
I've seen at least 2 high tide decks here today.
That's good.
High tide is good. Um, Infinity does still have that Gigantha cooking in hand with a Springleaf Drum to potentially cast it, which is definitely nice.
Yeah, but this is the stage of the game where Marty Spells takes things back. He is at 2 life.
So he's currently dead on board to a Signal Pest with a plating, though, right?
Yeah, he's been digging for an answer,
Mm-hmm.
but he might be able to bluff bluff it. He might be able to convince Infinity. Let me make sure I'm muted. He might be able to convince Infinity that he has a spell here. I don't think that it would stop him. Like he could village rights, but he already played his land. Yeah, this deck is really cool, but it does lose Thoughtseize. I think that's big.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely have to play like Inquisition, or you get Cabal Therapy, which is a big win as far as I'm concerned.
I actually like that because Cabal Therapy and Inquisition together, like it's a little worse against a lot of decks, but most combo decks need the cheap cards, and most it's better against Bird.
Yeah, exactly. And
Lingering
especially
Souls. I like this deck.
especially with Young Pyromancer, Cabal Therapy starts to look really, really juicy. If there are Dragon's Rage Channelers in this list, that's always strong as well. Lots of great synergies with Cabal Therapy.
So we are watching this. So I have it on Discord too, but both sides of this match. But I'm very invested in it.
Yeah.
That's a Leeching Sliver.
What does Leeching Sliver do? You're gonna have to help me out with these oddball
so
slivers.
Muscle Sliver and Sinews and Predatory Sliver, both do the same thing, except Predatory Sliver is your creatures get +1. Muscle Sliver is all slivers get +1. Sidewinder Sliver on the left there, that's flanking. And Leeching Sliver is whenever a creature you control, a sliver attacks, the opposing player loses 1 life. So it's a pseudo lord.
So they're all anthemed twice, right?
So they're all 3/3s that cause Troy to lose a life on attack, which means that this is a 12 damage attack with these 3 creatures. Truth Hylian, there's a lot of slivers here.
Yeah, lots of slivers. And that's exactly what the slivers player wants, right? The slivers player wants to have as many as possible in play.
Right.
Because they scale just so well with each other.
Yeah, and this curve is very low. Like, the slivers deck they lose Collector Company, they lose Aether Vial, but most of the pieces that they really need are still intact, and a lot of lists don't even run those anymore.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Troy's just dead to the attack triggers, right? There's no removal spell for the Leeching Sliver.
Yeah, love slivers.
Yeah, and now it looks like our life total.
Oh, thank you so much, Chase. Love. Yeah, I think Troy. Oh, he has food.
What did I just? Sorry, I missed. I was responding to a chat.
Troy's not dead on attack because he can eat the gingerbread man.
Oh, yes, the gingerbread man, indeed.
He's trying to figure out. I think he's trying to figure out if he can nettle cyst and eat the gingerbread man, and he's one short. Like, with the land, Troy's actually favored to win this because he can put down the nettle cyst to block favorably and gain 3. But as is, he's going to have to give up 3 creatures and the ginger brute because he can't block with the ginger brute. He has to gain life before the triggers happen. I think he's still dead.
Man, this slivers deck is gnarly.
It's really good. Like, power-wise is definitely there. It's just consistency.
Sure. Yeah, the mana hurts.
Chase.
Did you see, are there Gemhide slivers in this list, or did those get cut potentially for...
So those are very expensive. Hang on, we can check.
Who's playing this deck?
This is J1.
Gotcha. Yeah, slivers, Discord, and all that.
Yeah.
So...
All right. There are 4 Gemhides.
Oh, you are signed in, and you just don't have it turned on. Gotcha.
I don't have it. I am signed in, but one sec. So there's 4 Gemhides, but I think mana wefts are too expensive. And usually this deck runs 5 or 6.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I remember back when someone at my local was playing slivers, they kept getting like the Cloud Thresher sliver to give them haste plus Gemhide, and then they would cast like a Lead the Stampede, and it honestly felt like elves, except your elves were like high 5s with flying and haste.
Oh, they're watching my stream. Let's check.
Okay, so Big Purr is still playing against High Tide. And it looks like High Tide's attempting to go off.
And guys, done. So there's only a few matches still going. Yeah, we got a Suicune!
Oh, let's go.
This is a High Tide Song of Creation. Basically a Storm Mirror.
Yeah. And the Song of Creation player does look like they're in the Song of Creation zone, as we'll call it, which is no cards in hand. I think they have perhaps a Strike It Rich to flash back, which can kick things off if the Wanderer is not able to finish things out here. And I'm actually going to peep the Wanderer's High Tide list here. I want to see if there's any technology that I'm not familiar with in it.
Hey, everybody, if you remember to report your matches when you finish.
So there's actually a lot of technology in this High Tide list that I haven't seen before.
I mean, we got all the classics. We have Cloud of Fairies, we have Frantic Stairs. What else are you seeing?
Well, first off, there's no Mind's Desire, which I find odd.
How are they winning? Brainstorm?
They're Blue Sun Zenithing. They have a Lutri, which I believe makes infinite mana with Twin Cast. Is that what we're doing here? Or it makes infinite storm? Man, I need you to look at this list with me. We gotta work through this.
Give me just a sec. He's in the middle of comboing, so I don't want to miss it.
Oh, sure. A lot of fairies, lots of mana, lots of... Another High Tide resolve. That's going to be a lot of mana.
Yeah, and that's a lot of Clouded Fairies. I wonder what they're giving up. So I'm just checking the Discord really quick to see if anybody reported. Okay. Our duo has to drop, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I'm glad they could play.
Yeah.
Very
She's
awesome
up
to continue
against
with coach.
Comet. She just had limited time, but she was very excited, and she'll be back for later rounds.
Yeah, we'll definitely get some more of these tournaments going. This is certainly not the only one. Certainly not the only one. Now,
All right, is anybody who's still playing?
Eddie's wrapped up. Doug is wrapped up. I think.
All right, we need.
Is Samsoni still playing?
All right, big. Let's check.
Yes, Samson's still playing.
Great.
Oof, but maybe not. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
All good.
Actually join their VC. Okay, cool. That Edge champion looks like a problem to me.
Yeah, that's rough. I think they're pretty. Samson was pretty happy about claiming the firstborn right up until then. Samson does hit pretty hard here with Bolt, Snap, Bolt. Bolt claim the Dreadhorde Arcanist Bolt.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's enough artifacts just in the mana base to keep that etched oracle.
Yeah, there are
That
indestructible
champion.
artifacts.
Yeah, so I don't see any way to get that off the board, unless there's like sideboard Innocent Bloods or something, and we could kill the Ornithopter, find an Innocent Blood, but that seems a little bit unlikely, unfortunately.
So there is a secret mode to claim the firstborn, which is give target creature you control haste.
That is true. That is true.
But I don't think there's any way for Samson to get enough damage here.
No, unfortunately, I think you're correct.
Yeah, J1, because it's sick.
Yeah, if you didn't play such a cool list, we wouldn't have looked at it so much. Which, speaking of cool lists, there's some more heaters in this deck list. Did you see what Preston registered today? That's Nighttime Extreme. It is mono white Zerda infinite mana combo. Nighttime Extreme, Preston, down towards the bottom.
Hang on one sec. I mean, it's public. Like, who do we... Hang on. Let's see who still needs to report. Samson and Infinity are playing. Are Chubo and Douglin done?
They're done. Dingus and Hadel are done.
Can you find out who won between Chubo and Douglin?
Yes.
Thank you. And Budget Vintage Emperor is Infinity, right?
That is correct. Yeah, they're on a Bard account.
Yeah.
I think that Doug and Eddie was Thopter Sword versus Miracles.
Oh, I love that. Both of those decks are available. All right. Thopter Sword. So I need 3 people still to report. We need Samson and Infinity, Chupo and Douglin, and Dingus and Hadel.
Oh, Eddie and Doug are still playing, supposedly, but they're streaming the wrong screens.
Oh.
Hey, Eddie and
Right,
Doug, you guys are both just streaming the Magic Online client. Can you rebroadcast with your match, please?
Is this Zero Land Dredge? This is a landless Dredge.
Yeah, Hadel is a big Dredge fan.
Oh my god. So, like, this deck always needs to be on the draw. It can never choose to be on the play because it runs 0 lands.
That is correct.
So what you do with this deck, everybody, is you draw a card for your turn, then go to discard, and you pitch a Phantasmagorian or a Golgari Grave Troll, and then you start dredging until you hit Narcomoebas and Nether Shadows and Icarids.
Alrighty, Scuffle. Doug is live. They're in game 2 of their match, I believe.
Right, let me pull that up.
Doug is currently in the lead. Now, Doug is one of our... I'm going to call him an old head. He is a very historic Magic player. He's really not that old, but he's got a historic mind. And look at his deck right here. It's Thopter Sword featuring Skeletal Scrying. He's also playing quite a lot of restricted cards. I believe he's on Balance, Mind Twist, Tinker, uh,
I love skeletal scrying.
either Treasure Cruise or Dig. I don't know which one he's on. I can pull up his list in a second. He top aided our Win a Taiga back in March.
Oh.
Quite honestly, he's kind of a nightmare to face in bracket.
His hand's too big. I can't make it so we can see his whole hand.
And then look at that. There's Shorikai Genesis Engine as a Tinker target, believe it or not.
There we go. This will have to do. The Genesis engine. So what's that? What does the Genesis engine do? That's the one that like it makes pilots? You can
Yes, it's so the main thing is that for 1 mana, it draws 2 cards and discards 1 card. And it makes a chump blocker. There's some other text additionally, but really it's just incremental card advantage for the low price of 1 mana a turn, which is kind of insane, quite frankly.
Yeah. All right, I think we're just gonna have to be okay with you covering up their life total.
Yeah, you can move me if you have to. Yo, what's going on, Reverend Jeremiah? Good to have you here.
Hey, Rev.
Infinity, what's the question? How do you sideboard for Affinity? As Affinity? You try not to sideboard much, but we can talk about it if we have a little dead air.
It's more of a specifics. When you are trying to beat something very specific, that's the only time you need to survive.
Let me see what the sideboard I gave you is. Give me 1 sec. I'll post the list in chat so we can all look at it together. What did you play against?
Oh, thank you so much, Vegas. Really appreciate the subscription. I'm going to just shrink you a little bit, Rusty.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so for your Affinity list, Infinity, pulling from the main board's really, really hard. Usually I just find myself trimming, which is probably not correct, but I often don't know. If I think a matchup's going to be like combo oriented where I'm not going to have time to grind, you can maybe like trim some Forging the Anchors.
I like that. That makes sense.
You don't want to dilute your game plan, and you don't want to dilute your affinity count. So you want to do it pretty minimally. Just bring in Tormod's Crypt for graveyard decks, Damping Sphere for Storm, Machine Over Matter you can bring in against Merit Lage specifically.
He's casting his short guy.
Oh, a budget vintage t-shirt. Yeah, so now's a good time to mention I haven't had a spare moment, but Reverend Jeremiah actually threw together a sick order form for some sick custom budget vintage t-shirts for us. Jeremiah, can you throw a link to something in the chat? Maybe.
If we have somebody on hand who can you should put that into the link tree, and then I'll put the link tree into the subtitle. It's Elminster versus Shorukai over here.
I can't worry about shirts right now. I gotta watch this match. There's crazy stuff happening, and you can tell this is going to be a grinder because Doug's hand is still chock full of skeletal scryings. Is there an artifact in the graveyard for Danitha to reanimate? Is this Commander Dingus? Have you read this Danitha, by the way?
Yes, from Dominaria United. I played a ton with her.
She's Baneslayer at home, except look at that. She's getting Sword of the Meek, which is not really what you want to get, but she has it, and that's great.
Sword of Sword.
I know that Doug is really trying to put a Batterskull into play to get 2 Baneslayers for 5 mana, is kind of how we've been describing it. But look at that. He generated a 5/6 to pressure, and he's still got his Shorikai up. So he's going to generate a pilot. He's going to draw a card. He's cooking here, man. He's got those skeletal scryings to discard to thirst for knowledge.
All right, there we go. Someone is explaining MTGO to someone else.
Yeah, I just went ahead and deafened myself in that chat. Too much to focus on.
No, I need people to. I mean, I can rule it out. I just need people to be able to ask judge questions. So here's Elminster. This is a pretty efficient planeswalker. And it's great for miracles.
That's a nice return to dust.
Okay, so Return to Dust on the main phase does have 2 things. And does Elminster, whenever you scry... Okay, so they White returned to dust after plussing the Elminster. So this is Miracles versus a different kind of control.
Energy Flux. Okay, so Energy Flux doesn't look like it has text right now, but Doug is trying to win the game with the Thopter Sword combo. But it looks like here he's going to be able to push down the Elminster with single counterspell up afterwards. And it looks like no, you are not going face.
Oh, thanks, Hatter.
Did he mean to attack face there?
Kind of like that. Like, if you can't Thopter Sword, like if you're trying to combo here, then leaving Elminster up makes some sense to me. Like if your combo has been turned off, if you don't have a specific answer for this energy flux, hey Hadel, thank you so much for the follow.
Yeah, what's going on, Hadel?
If you don't have a specific answer for the energy flux, then you have to get your opponent dead.
I gotta be honest. Yeah, if my opponent's at 20 life and they have a planeswalker, the planeswalker could say that every 2 turns you make a wet ham sandwich. I'm attacking that planeswalker.
So, but if you are protecting your creatures with counter magic, that's a 4-turn clock. Like, there's a huge difference between killing your opponent in 4 turns and killing your opponent in 5 turns.
But like, what if he downticks the Elminster here and makes like 6 birds?
I need to read Elminster again.
I think that might
exile top card of your library. Create a number of fairy dragon creature tokens equal to that card's mana value. All right, that's a fair point. That is a lot of birds.
So, here's what I think happened. I wouldn't be surprised if the last time Doug played on Magic Online, Planeswalkers. No, wait, you always attacked Planeswalkers, right?
But yeah.
There was a time where you would lightning bolt your opponent's face and then redirect the damage.
Yes.
But you always attacked the Planeswalker. Ugh. All right, I don't know what happened there. We'll have to get Doug on a post-match interview. I will say, look at their clocks.
He might just be trying to, like, he might have actual removal for a Planeswalker. Like, if he has destroyed target Planeswalker, that would be a reason not to attack the elements.
He's got swords, but he's got no pendings. He's got
this is game 3 Infinity.
No, this is game 2.
Oh.
Doug is currently up. So maybe
Approach, dig, Aetherize, and Elminster is the hand. Approach the second sun. Really good. Aetherize is scary to know about.
Yeah. Notably, we've got counter spells.
Oh, that's what he exiled for the skeletal scrying.
We've got counter spells on counter spells, but we've actually only got 2 blue mana. So, okay, now we're going to the Elminster. That reinforces the idea that it was a mistake. But here, he's going to counterspell, and he's going to knock down the Elminster. But that is going to give Eddie a window to resolve an approach if he has a land in his hand. Jeremiah correctly brings up the fact that Doug is the GOAT. Doug's an incredible player and an incredible person. Big fan. Unfortunately, the only spell he's got up right now is Swords to Plowshares. River of Tears.
Okay, that is a miracle. Miracle in here from the Terminus. So you haven't seen Terminus before?
For a reason.
Yeah, like, I mean, he was scrying with Elminster, but still, Terminus still good. Yeah.
That does mean he didn't draw a land. Oh, I don't know where that came from. This is bad.
Are they both running Elminsters?
No, just Eddie.
Oh.
I think this list is courtesy of Servo Token, I believe. He's been cooking with this blue-white Miracles for a while, and it's looked pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, so we've got mid-range, we've got control, we've got aggro, and we've got combo today. All 4 macro archetypes are here.
Yep.
That is a misplay, J1. Graveyard order matters in this format.
Man, I am the worst. I ask my opponent every time.
Your deck's awesome. I haven't seen your deck.
Your deck is sick.
I haven't seen your deck, but I know it's awesome.
He was the Manaless Dredge player. Hadel,
yes.
We turned in to see Ian resolve that Weathered Runestone, and we said, oh, okay.
Oh, man, the deck's cool, though. I like your deck, Hadel.
Yeah, Hadel's a Dredge expert, so he's been keeping us honest.
I do love
he's really
Dredge.
more excited about a Poxwalker's Dredge variant but unfortunately, Poxwalkers is not allowed on Magic Online
I'm
because
sorry, Hadel. You're one of the only that's one of the only cards that we couldn't make work.
yep. Quebec correctly identifies that this list very well, or this match could very well be decided by time.
Hmm.
But okay, so caveat, and I don't know if they know this. They should. If someone runs out, like let's say Doug's clock runs out, but Doug's up a game, does he lose?
I don't. I think he does. I think when you run it, Quebec would know.
So does Doug
Okay,
know that? I don't
lots of
know
them know.
I gotta be honest, Doug might think that he wins if he clocks out.
Uh, I mean, there's nothing we can do about that right now.
I mean, it's not game knowledge, it's like platform knowledge. We should make sure he knows that, right?
It's we can answer that question and we can tell them between games, but we can't go into their game and say, hey, like it's different than it's different than saying like, hey, can you play faster?
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I trust your judgment on that. You're right, Quebec. I did say that being up a match would affect it or being up a game would affect it in real life, but this is MTGO, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think we covered it.
Would
So
you do it like a chess clock if you could? Like, if regular Magic worked, do you think it would work better if it was like a chess clock and whoever
dude, look
ran
at that
time lost?
Vindicate.
Oh, that is a Vindicate, a
That was a
Vindicate, an
sick
Astrolabe,
rip.
and a Foundry there. That'd be
And
so good right now.
oh, he's not trying to survive. Doug is trying to win the game. Because look, he's got Thopter Foundry. There's a sword somewhere. It's in some zone.
Yeah.
And he's
Oh
got
my
an
God.
Astrolabe. No,
Oh,
Doug, play your Astrolabe. Play your Astrolabe.
I think he tapped wrong to play the Astrolabe because he doesn't have any snow mana left.
That's so yeah. And did the Astrolabe go to exile? Oh, got returned to dust. The Astrolabe is no, so it doesn't matter because yeah, thank you, chat, for helping me figure this out.
So for those of
You're
you
right.
who, yeah, the chat is invaluable for parsing. So those of you who haven't seen this combo before, so Thopter Foundry says sacrifice an artifact, a non-token artifact. You put a 1/1 Thopter into play, you gain 1 life, and then Sword of the Meek says whenever a 1/1 creature comes into play, whenever one creature enters the battlefield under your control, you return it to play attached to that creature. So you sack the sword, make a Thopter, attach the sword. Sack the sword, make a Thopter, attach the sword. So it's a 2-card combo that doesn't win the game, but it does say pay X, make X Thopters.
Yep, and Hadel did point out Doug actually held up Counterspell there. I gotta be honest, guys, I forget how River of Tears works every day of my life. But
Yes.
look what Eddie said. He said, I don't need to click 12 times to make 6 birds. I'm just gonna simply make 6 birds.
So Danitha here. Oh, but the sword's been exiled. That's right.
Okay, so yeah, it's Danitha with Counterspell backup. Now, what Danitha's going to do here is it's going to stabilize Doug's life total. But wait, there's more.
Another one.
Just let it go. Because here's the thing. I don't think Doug has the clock time to kill with Thopter Sword anymore.
True. Like, you get time back in MTGO? Like, you get 2 seconds refunded every turn?
No, what you see is what you get, I believe. And I gotta be honest, Doug mentioned that he wanted to get some reps in on Magic Online with me in the days leading up to this so that he didn't time out, and we were not able to coordinate that.
Thank you, Chase.
J1, great question. No, there's no like Urza or
Hey, Per. Thank you so much for the follow.
What's the Esper artifact that lets you sack things time save? Doug doesn't truly go infinite. He just simply makes enough Thopters that that the opponent dies, and it works pretty consistently. But yeah, Ranger points out it's a very click-intensive combination.
Yeah, Time Sieve is a really cool card, but it also is like $8.
Yep, it used to be cheap. Then, do we counter that one, or do we? We can just swords one, right?
I mean, yeah, if he double blocks, you do take out both Entreat.
I think he can counterspell here because he's got a backup. But I'm also bad. Yeah, where is balance? Honestly, Doug might just draw balance. He's
Is
great at
balance
drawing
restricted? in
It sure is,
Vintage.
and that means Doug loves putting it in his deck. Let me send this list. His list is crazy. He's been cooking on these Thopter sword piles. That's fine. I think that Doug actually likes that exchange potentially.
Yeah. Loose Focus is such an interesting choice.
Yeah. Also, I know I've been neglecting to mention Eddie. Eddie, who's on the Miracle side, he also actually top aided or win a Taiga tournament back in March. So they played in the top 8. So this is kind of a rematch. But back
Yeah.
then, Eddie was playing a food combo deck based around Lonus. And okay, so now if Eddie double blocks here, he respectfully eats shit.
I mean, like, it's still a 1-for-1.
That's accurate, yeah, because you're trading swords, but
You're trading Swords to Plowshares for a Entreat the Angels, and then you give your opponent 4 life and you gain 4 life off Danitha.
yeah,
That's very fair. It's a very fair exchange.
it does feel bad. Yeah, it's got
It
bad
does
feelings.
feel bad.
Oh,
there it is.
Dude, he drew. I told you he was gonna draw.
You absolutely did. You absolutely called it.
I can't. There's 7 lands. 2, 4, 6. So Doug's actually up a land, but he's majorly down cards in hand, and his creature is the best creature on the board. He wants to keep Counterspell up after this, I suspect. So slam that balance. Let's go.
I mean, his opponent discarding 3 cards is huge. I think he probably wanted to play the Foundry, he just didn't want to tap out.
Yeah, I think that well, he could keep Counterspell up. He could have gotten the Foundry down, I think. But I gotta be honest, I haven't been in this seat a lot, but when you're sitting at 3 minutes and 52 seconds, you've got to feel the pressure, right? It's
Yeah.
because here's the thing, and this is what's I know Doug's not going to be happy about this if he loses, because I think, man, being down on clock is a bad feeling in this matchup.
Yeah.
But
it really hurts.
But Eddie's at 10 life, and Doug's got to beat her.
That's true. I mean, these are the 2 most controlling decks, and we have a lot of experience answering the question, who's the beatdown in a mid-range mirror or in an aggro mirror? But it's very hard to answer in this matchup, because sometimes someone makes 10 Angels, and sometimes someone makes 30 Thopters.
Yeah. Chase is asking if there will be a race to F6, which is the command to yield. I got to be honest, I don't think either of these players are very familiar with Moto. I don't know if they know the thing, but look at that. The race is on. Doug's ahead on time now. And he spent too much time scrying. And keep in mind, those Arcum's Astrolabes, they aren't just cantrips that fix. They're also secretly Thopters for Thopter Foundry.
Mm-hmm.
Does he swords?
Ooh.
I don't think he does, because he wants Eddie at low life. And Danitha simply attacking negates the Angel's attacks. J1, that's a great point. Yeah, it is definitely a skill, especially on Moto.
Blue Watch, thank you so much for the follow. Ooh, is that a miracle? That is a miracle. Entreat the Angels.
Holy shit. Good thing Doug's got that counterspell.
Yeah.
And yeah, Doug, you got to resolve that miracle trigger, then let him cast it. Now, what if Eddie has a counterspell? Do we have his hand? Or is he just
We
going to
don't
go
know
all
his
in on
hand.
this?
But we know, like, he had 6 cards in hand before the balance.
So he's all in except for perhaps a Spell Pierce. Why would
All
he do
right.
that? It's open deck lists.
We did see the other person, like, we did see Tupo last time cast and treat by holding up a bunch of mana.
I gotta be honest, this game has been great. The clock, as unfortunate as it is that it's affecting the game, it's very hype.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a part of Magic. Even if this was a normal match, like, they'd have 6 minutes left.
All right, it's come to my attention that someone keeps burping in voice chat.
Yeah,
So
it's not playing on the stream, so it's fine. It is Servo.
Yeah, Servo points out, yeah, getting your entreat for 10,000 counterspell does not feel good.
I'm so glad, like, these are the 2 grindiest control decks.
Seriously.
And they just happened to be the mirror here. And now they're racing. And he's down to 6.
And Eddie rips another miracle, which it's allowed because it's the name of the deck. And
I mean, he portended before.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And I gotta say, Doug's had his fair share of miracles, right? He
Yeah,
found that balance.
it's a good
But look at
balance.
that. Do you remember when we tuned in and Doug's hand was 100 skeletal scryings and thirst for knowledge?
And
It's not
brainstorm.
anymore. Oh, thank you, chat. Yeah, I missed the brainstorm setup.
Yeah, but
I should not be.
oof, all right. But this worked out really nicely here because he's been holding on to these Thopters for a long time, just playing around that terminus.
Yeah. Whew.
Like that, and three Thopters is huge. Three Thopters is a 2-turn clock as long as he can keep the birds in check from Elminster.
Yeah, the birds are gonna not be kept in check, I suspect. But again, look at the clocks. Eddie's down now. Because it takes time to set up your brainstorms and your scries, right? There's a lot of not only physical digital manipulation, but actual factual thinking,
With
right?
Scolopy. Yeah, this is a tough match. Like, there is no autopilot from either of these players. Every
So
turn does
mentioned
matter.
this. I think I mentioned this every time we have like a semi-complicated game on Arena. I'm glad I'm in this seat and I'm not in their seat. This is a lot to work on.
It's a tough match. Like, I think this would be like he's down to 16 cards. So they're like, this is the point of the game in which they can actually work out what cards are left in each player's deck and play
Oh,
around
yes.
things accordingly.
If you've scried and you haven't shuffled, yeah, the clock is so close. But okay, but so here's the thing. All Doug has to do is stay ahead on clock because Doug's up a game. So Doug could actually lose this game and then win the match based on time. So Doug should probably just be slugging that F6 button, right, Moto Grinders?
Ooh, I think that's right. I don't know. We have a lot of really amazing Magic players here today, and not a lot of very experienced Moto players today.
Although, yeah, it doesn't matter. I guess my point with that, though, is that, like, Doug can lose this game. Because if this were game 3, Doug couldn't lose this game, but Doug...
It takes a lot of taps to activate, though.
Yeah, and I suspect we're going to Swords it here. No, I guess not. Maybe that was an accidental pass through, but maybe not. Did Eddie resolve that approach earlier this game?
I don't think he did. I think he discarded it or he got countered because it was in the graveyard when we arrived. Okay. Thanks, Jalen.
It got countered. Thank you.
Yeah, it was in the graveyard when we arrived. What does he have for a Tinker target?
Shorakai's gone.
Thopters and Swords.
There's no. I didn't realize there was no Batterskull on his list. That's surprising to me.
Probably a budget consideration. Card's $3, right?
Yeah, it's been creeping up. Yeah, it doesn't need to resolve the first time, so Eddie could just rip.
It does if he only runs one copy. Does he have 2 copies of Approach?
Servo, do you know? I think this is your list. Are you on 1 or 2 Approach? I think you're on more, right?
2 makes sense to me, but like it is not good usually to have like if you get to 8 mana, it's great to have the second copy, but or 7 mana, but you just don't always need it.
Okay, so but here's Servo thinks there's just 1. We could look at the deck list, but I'm not going to look away from my screen.
Yeah.
45 seconds left. Chunking in for 3. Is this doable? I think it is. It only took him 2 seconds to make that attack. I think Doug. but Doug just has to stay ahead on clock because they're not finishing a 3rd game. Yeah, so Doug's on the F6 plan. But all stop spam click hand. Yeah, I don't know that these players know how to remove all their stops. Is Doug going to cast the Inquisition? I think not. Yeah, because look, he doesn't know to remove the stops, so he's just got to be slamming that F1 button. And so that's the thing, right? Whether you're on Moto or you're on Spell Table or you're on Moto, there's something weird. There's always something strange to contend with in the tournament.
Always going to be something weird every format.
I do apologize to those tokens. They are not birds. They are fairy dragons, by the way. Now, is it possible to 100% never go down on time on Moto? Like, let's say
every turn takes a second. So you do get a second back.
Okay, so you always are losing time. Yeah, GG's nice game. That was insane. And I don't know for sure, but I suspect that's our last
Yes,
game
this
in the
is the last match.
extirpate to deck him.
All
Yeah.
right, so
Doug
that's
wins the
Douglin,
match.
right?
Yeah, Doug took that one.
Douglin took
Whew,
that one 2-0 or 2-1. I think it's
he
2-0.
took it to clock. He took it to clock, but he was up a game.
That counts. That's 2-0. All right. What are we? Why can't I proceed with the round?
Um,
Hmm.
all right, I'm gonna run to the bathroom while you do all
Sure
the hard
thing.
work, okay?
Deal. All
Is
right.
is anyone dropping? Do we have that information, by the
Duo
way?
dropped. Is anybody else going to drop?
All right, I'm gonna let you figure this out.
Sure. All right, everybody. So here is the current round. Give me just a sec. Well, oh, there we go. All right, we're gonna finalize the round. Does anybody need to drop before I go to the next round? Does anybody need to drop before we go to the next round? Be sure to tell me. I know Duo is out. All right. I think we're just gonna finalize the round. Let me just check the Discord, make sure that nobody said anything. All right, looks like we're good to go. We're gonna finalize the round and get the next one started.
Alrighty, good job on the efficient pairing. It sounds like you've got that.
Let me just get this into the Discord.
Yeah, immediate turnover.
All right, everybody, I am putting it into contact your opponent. It's right here. I'm just going to delete the previous. No, I'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. All right, the bottommost round is the current pairings. The left name makes the game. The right name joins. If you don't have your opponent by 6:17, that's 5 minutes from now, be sure to let me know.
Very smart.
And while they do that, I want to take a look at some of the lists we just saw.
Yeah, this has felt very fast paced. There's a lot going on
Hmm.
here.
All
I will
right, so
simply
this is
spectate you
the
in Discord.
is my stream still going in Discord? Great.
Yep, you are zoomed in a little bit, but I think it's okay.
Yeah, hopefully you can see my screen and not just a window.
There is an Elminster floating up there for some reason.
I put that. Oh, yeah, I made a
Oh
window
yeah,
so people could
you're
read the
screen capping
cards.
it. Yeah, get that out of here.
All right, so this is a sweet list. We've got a Singleton Vindicate restricted.
No, he's just on one. I feel like he could play more, but I think if you just draw it at the right time, you don't need more than one.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it is a nice catch-all. Counting spell, classic. Skeletal Scrying is really odd to me.
I
Like,
have been a hater of it for a while, but he says it's been awesome every time.
I
He's
mean,
actually playing it over dig through time in this list.
wow. Even he's not even running one copy of Dig Through Time. Like Dig Through
You
Time.
can only run one. It's restricted for
Yeah.
sure.
All
So
right,
yeah,
here's
I
that
talked to him about.
Shorikai. Draw two cards, discard a card, make a pilot. So you need three pilots to drive the Genesis engine.
Oh, Scuffle, you need to remute on Discord. I can.
Why aren't I? Says I muted. Oh, I muted the server.
Sorry, I server muted you for a second.
Ah, all good.
Thank
No, we're good.
you.
All right. This is cool. I love that he can't quite fit all the snowlands in that he wants.
Yep, and so Snowlands are behaving very strangely right now. The islands are actually factoring into the price in purple. The swamps and plains are not. I
Interesting.
think that I gotta reach out to Moxfield about that. I think that they used to have a threshold where basic lands didn't count if they were less than $1. I think
Mm.
they adjusted it to be a different number. We have games beginning, by the
All
way.
right. What do you want to watch?
I want to check on Ian, truthfully. Oh, it's Ian and Preston. Let's watch this match for sure.
I don't know any of these
Oh,
names.
sorry, Dingus. Table 3, we can spectate Dingus.
Okay.
And what this match is, it's going to be lands versus the mono white
Wait,
Zerda combo.
who am I spectating?
Dingus. He's on table 3. He's not in the main.
I
players
cannot
meeting.
watch anybody who's not here.
He's in table 3. Can you go to table 3?
Yeah. I can only watch people who are in this player chat.
Can you leave this player chat and go somewhere else?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We can watch other matches.
Yeah, but if you can get them back over here, I'd love to watch their matches.
Yeah, let me do that really quick. Hey, sorry to interrupt, guys. Can you guys actually jump into players meeting?
I want to see Quebec's match, actually.
For some reason, Scuffle can't jump here to stream, and we want to
if I jump there, I have to rebuild the whole scene. Because it turns off the Discord stream.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if I leave the channel, I have to rebuild the Discord scene.
Oh, sorry, my mic was off and I'm muted. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now, if I leave, if I leave the Discord channel, I have to rebuild the scene because interrupting the Discord stream turns it off.
Understood. I got them in players meeting though, so we can find Dingus now if you'd like to.
Oh, so okay, I do want to, but I just want to take a quick look at Quebec's deck. So Quebec is up against the control deck we just saw, and he's playing this really tempo-oriented hand disruption mono white mid-range list with Peacekeepers, Spellbinders, Tide Hollow Skullers, and Hymn to Torok.
Yeah, that looks sweet. Do I have Quebec's deck list? Back. Weird. Okay. Oh, there's the White Plume. Doug's gonna hate that resolving. What is the named card? It's Thirst for Knowledge?
Yes.
And we're playing a Spellbinder. Haha, Foster's here cheering for the bad guys.
Alright, you wanted to watch
Dingus. Yeah, this is that lands deck I've been working on.
Yes, I love this deck. Her one Grazer is exactly what he wants to see. And he's got that Maze of Ith and Glacial Chasm in hand.
Yeah, which, man, I've got to look at this list from Preston. I know it makes infinite mana through Zerda Monolith, I believe. I don't know what happens next. I think it just casts big dudes.
I mean, it's a good goal.
I hope it doesn't have an unfair kill. And so notable thing about Ian, that's Dingus, his hand, he's got 2 lands, but none of them make mana anymore.
And Urborg and Yavimaya are both kind of pricey, so I guess it's tough to run the things that enable it.
We could technically run 1 copy of Riftstone Portal.
That's cool. You do sack lands a fair amount with your Glacial Chasm.
Yeah. Notably, it looks like he may have mistapped. I think he could have worked off that crop rotation, but I don't think he did.
Well, he hasn't played a land yet, but yeah, you're right.
Don't play Chasm again. No. All right, so choose to get that maze down. And looking at Preston's list, he's Ugin in the inevitable. He's got high great distortion. I don't know if he has like.
Is Kozilek the Great Distortion the one that draws up to 7?
It does, and then you can cards to
counter spells. Pretty good. We have a lot of 1 and 0 mana cards. That is a lot of mana that Zeta makes here.
Yep. Yes.
Actually, Zeta doesn't help that much.
So, your maze is jumping, by the way.
Yes, I put it there.
Okay. There is that crawling barrens with infinite becomes infinitely large, but fortunately, Maze is ready to cover that. And maybe that's why Dingus plays Maze of Ith Chapter, because he is under infinite mana pressure. Crawling barrens will be attacker.
Mm-hmm.
And man, oh yeah, actually, Ian had Maze of Ith. I think he could have died.
So that is. So Zirdo would reduce the Crawling Baron's activation by 2, and then 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 available mana. That's pretty cool. I love this Urza's Factory too. I haven't seen that card since it was a bomb in Time Spiral Limited.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you should play that Glacial Chasm.
He can make his own decisions.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, and lands is a very strange deck. There's a lot going on, and I'll post the list in chat as well. Dingus. So this lands deck, what it really wants to be doing is it wants to just hang out, play lands, and it wants to assemble a 2020 Merit Lage
Yes.
through the use of Dark Depths.
Dark Depths and Thespian Stage together.
That's right.
I love that deck. I've always loved that combo. I always play Zeus in Commander, and that's often how I win.
Oh, yeah, I've played against that. And yeah, so the Crawling Barons can get a little larger.
Card's so
and
cool.
yeah, Ian chose to cover himself from the tutus that are going to be coming out of that Urza's Factory as well. Sorry. Yeah, Urza's Factory.
So Glacial Chasm has cumulative upkeep 2 life, which means that you pay 2 life, then 4 life, then 6 life, and then 8 life. So you are essentially immune to damage for 4 turns per glacial. Well, we're 1 Glacial Chasm, but after that,
Yeah, I think
it adds up fast.
that's a good way of putting it. This list has a couple tricks to keep it around longer. You can use a Thespian Stage to copy it.
Oh, that's good.
And that's like having a fresh new one. One of the pieces of technology we implemented since last night is Selesnya Sanctuary.
I like that.
So you can potentially reset it by using that bounce land. And we've actually got 2 copies of Splendid Reclamation in the deck right now as well.
That's great. Just
which can
aggressively playing out your
Glacial Chasm as well as whatever land you sacked previously. And then the deck's just chock full of cycling lands and kind of just hangs out.
I like it. It's effective.
But this is going to be a nice slow grinder. Do you want to step around and check out some other matches?
Yeah. All right, let's see what Comet's playing.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay.
All right, so this is Slivers versus Black Red Luris. We see that Dreams of Steel and Oil.
We see the DRC being forced to attack. It can't not, and it does put the Slivers player down to 4 life. And oh, look at that! Here comes Kroxa.
Okay, yeah, that's one of those cards where it's like, okay, thank you for taking a look at the graveyard. But 12 life is a pretty safe amount. J1 is holding
how many cards?
0 cards, empty hand. So this Kroxa is very lethal. I mean, it puts him to 1, but it means that on an attack trigger, Comet will take this. I think this is Comet.
I'm not sure I don't know there's any way to get out at that point. It looks like Comet's going to get there. It looks like there was a lot of back and forth in the game. One thing I noticed was Luris was in the graveyard, and it looks like that was the match. Okay. Quick match.
All right, let's jump over to DGL. This is the other side of the table from Quebec. Quebec sided in Engineered Plague to stop the Thopters.
And that makes sense.
But they named Pilot.
Is this the same game that we were watching earlier, or do you think this is game 2? I think this is game 2 because Quebec was able to get down like Elite Spellbinder plus gain the initiative. I don't think Doug won that game.
Yeah.
I suspect this is game 2.
I think this is game 2. So this is going to be rough, actually. So Quebec basically has to take the balance here because if Doug is allowed to balance if your balance is your last card in hand and it takes out the Tidal Scholar, then getting a card back while both players have no hand is just too much.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you do take the balance, that leaves Doug with a Dead of Winter, which is going to be -4/-4. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a 1-for-1 removal spell. Okay, but Anointed Peacekeeper, pretty good. And Quebec actually if Quebec has another discard spell as their last card in hand, then I think Quebec's pretty happy naming Thopter Foundry here.
Yeah, well, if Quebec doesn't name Dead of Winter, then Doug's going to cast it. And now if Doug rips an untapped land, he's just gonna wipe this board.
Well, thank you so much for the follow, Norax. Let me know if you
So
have any
this is a
questions.
and Doug simply draws another board wipe.
Doug does have those.
Look, Doug is ready for creature decks. And Doug did have the option. He could have activated Shurikai and banked on drawing a land, but I don't think that would have been the right play. I think
Well,
that would have been a little too greedy.
he can't make pilots, but he does still draw cards every turn.
Yeah, oh, you're right. Yeah, Engineered Plague is on black. Oh, but look, Quebec's got that Castle Lochthwain. That's going to be a lot of value over the course of the game.
Because Doug is not good at punishing the life loss on Castle Lochthwain.
No, and he can't just play the Danitha. I think if he had a fifth land, he would very seriously consider just slamming the Danitha to start pressuring.
Me neither, Ranger. It's a first for me too.
Yeah. And here, Doug is, I don't want to say spinning his wheels. He's doing exactly what he wants to do.
Like,
Server, why are you here? Did you play a match already?
there was on Affinity. It's been 8. Like, there's 9 minutes
Okay,
gone
yeah.
in this match. That's
a good point.
enough time for an Affinity match.
Is there? So, do you think that players who register cards like Elminster and Shurikai just love playing Magic more than players that register Cranial Plating?
Hey, it's
Because
not.
Doug's going to play a lot more Magic tonight than Servo.
It's not about quantity. It's about quality.
That's right. Oh, okay, Samson. Yeah, sorry to hear that.
Sorry, Samson.
Servo's
Servo's Affinity deck is also brutal. That is so scary.
Yeah, if you wake up and you're not targeting Affinity, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard.
And it's hard to wake up and target Affinity in this format when we've got like zero land dredge here too.
That's the thing. It's so hard to know what you should be targeting.
Quebec's in trouble, but he's not out.
I agree that Castle Lochthwain has play, and it's gonna take Doug a long time to close out the game. I will say that.
Actually killing Quebec with 2 engineered plagues, naming the 2 ways that he wins is going to be so difficult. There's 2 Danitha, and is that it? Is that all that's left?
That may be the case, but I think Doug, yeah, he correctly identifies that he needs to start pressuring, and it's Danitha time. That does make his Dead of Winter and his balance a little bit worse, but I think when he's facing down those 2 Engineered Plagues, it does make sense. He does have a Vindicate to potentially open up one of those, and he does have a Mystical Tutor to grab it.
Quebec took Inquisition of Kozilek over Balance and Dead of Winter. Which
that makes sense.
Well, so it means that Quebec's last card has got to be a banger.
Yeah, and now here, Doug's going to get a chance to sculpt his hand a little bit using this Genesis engine. He chose not to. I wonder why that is. He moused over it. Perhaps he just missed it. Luckily, he's got Baneslayer at home.
I mean, it's Baneslayer that picks up a Thopter or a Battery Skull.
Yeah, I actually really like that card.
I love Danitha.
I wonder if Doug could fit a Cauldron Complete into his list.
I think it would be a cost issue more than anything.
I think Cauldron Complete's I think kind of affordable right now.
Oh, Danitha.
I don't know.
I played so much Danitha Hammerhand in Dominaria United. I won an RCQ actually on Danitha Hammerhand. Just drafting Danitha and all the Hammerhands.
That makes sense. Yeah, Danitha's a good card to draft a lot of.
Yeah, Danitha was very busted in Dominaria United. Even with only 1 aura in the set, he was still 4/4 first strike, vigilance, lifelink is a brick wall. Nothing gets through that.
Ooh, can we take a brief second and check out the Dingus versus Preston game?
Yeah.
Because Dingus has assembled himself a little board state.
Is it the same game?
It is. You can tell because that the Glacial Chasm. Look, he's taken so much damage.
Yeah, but he
crop rotates for Selesnya Sanctuary after making a 20/20, and he's gonna pick up his Glacial Chasm.
And if he goes a turn without a Glacial Chasm, his opponent does have 20 damage in lands on board.
But Swords.
Thank you, Big Bird. 193 on Cauldron Complete.
Nice, good find. Yeah, Crawling Barrens is huge.
Yeah, it's
This
huge,
is
and the
very good.
Manifold Key makes it unblockable.
But he can just
Swords to
Dingus
Plowshares.
Dingus has gained 20 life, and he gets to replay Glacial Chasm. This game's never ending.
Nice work, Hadel. Your deck's sweet.
Let's go. Oh my god, he moused over it. He knows we're watching.
All right, I need to get some water really quick, so I'm gonna leave this game up for a
Yeah.
minute.
So if anyone missed that, the card that Dingus just drew was a Splendid Reclamation. That card can rebuy every land in his graveyard, and I can't see it that closely, but it looks like he has a million cards in his graveyard. And he's gonna have to get under this Glacial Chasm as well. But here he goes casting. Splendid Rec. This is going to rebuy the Thespian Stage and the Dark Depths. He is setting up to make another 2020. Oh, but they're tapped. But he's got Glacial Chasm. Let's go. This is wild. It's sec. This match is simultaneously so interesting and so dull. There's nothing happening, but slowly a Crawling Barrens is ticking up. A Merit Lage is threatening to climb out of the depths. It looks like we're Sylvan Scrying. What will we get? A Thespian Stage? Never a bad call. And if you guys thought you had to own a Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale to play lands in any format, that is simply not the case. You can play lands for $30 here in $30 budget vintage. But let's see what Preston has to say about this situation. It looks like he's going to simply make a guy and level up his Crawling Barrens a few more 100 times. I can't. How many cards does Preston have in his hand? He's got 4 cards in his hand. Uh, yeah, Ranger, we have to diversify our Crawling Barrens. I'm getting added. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, Eddie is dropping. Jake is dropping.
Okay, I'm back. What did I miss?
Well, Scuffle, a lot happened. First thing, Eddie is dropping and Jake Java Bean is dropping. But
Good.
back in this match, Ian assembled a 2020. It got Swords to Plowshares. Then he reassembled the Glacial Chasm lock and cast a Splendid Reclamation. Preston is threatening something like 30 unblockable damage with his Crawling Barrens.
Yeah?
But what's going to happen here is Ian is potentially going to make a 2020 and then get out of his Glacial Chasm lock. I will say, at this current juncture, if he lets the Glacial Chasm die, he can't rebuy it. One thing I will say, he's got his Maze of Ith back. That covers the largest Crawling Barrens, and he's got a Blast Zone, which I think he should consider popping on those Manifold Keys.
Yeah, the unblockable is a big thing, and it takes out the Soul Ring too as an added bonus.
Yeah, it does kill his own Grazer, but
Where is
I gotta be
Zirda?
honest, there's a lot going on in Ian's seat. Chase, that lands deck link. Yeah, give me 1 sec, guys.
Wait, who?
Yeah, I would
Who else
love
was
to see
dropping?
Who else is dropping? Eddie's dropping.
Hupo?
Jake Java Bean is dropping.
Java Bean. What is Java Bean in Maturino?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's Inner Poet Society, I think. Is that right?
Oh,
Yes, we go by many names here. He is Inner Poet, and Eddie is Tiopo.
that one I knew. All right, so we got Inner Poet Society dropped and Hupo dropped.
It looks like Samsoni is considering dropping as well. Let us know when you decide for sure.
You can still prize Samson. I just like your deck, so I would want you to play some more.
So Preston has 2 cards in hand, and Ian doesn't have a crop rotation for Sajiri's Step, but he is going to make the 2020. That means he's going to go shields down here, because if he wants to attack, he's got to sacrifice his Glacial Chasm.
Is he running enough Tajiri steps to crop rotation for it?
There is one Sajiri step. Is there a Sajiri step in hand?
There is.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Bearded does disable Merit Wage.
What does Zerda's text actually say?
Activated abilities cost 2 less to activate, but can't cost less than 1. And target creature can't attack or block this turn.
All right, there's another Swords to Plowshares.
I mean, 20 life matters here, but it's still only one more turn.
So
Oh, just can't block? You can't turn off attack?
we have the Blast Zone to clear the Manifold Key, which I think we're doing here. It does also clear our Arboreal Grazer, which maybe is a downside. We are going to be able to Maze of If, the largest one, but we're facing down 12 damage off the 2/2s plus 3 damage off the Zerda. So that's 15. We're at a virtual 31. I don't think that Preston can make a 31 power Crawling Barons, but I truly don't know.
We can use Thespian Stage to copy the opposing Crawling Barons at this point.
Or we could use Thespian Stage to copy our own Maze of If and have 2 copies.
That's true.
But we'd still only get 1 Maze activation this turn.
It got hit by Swords to Plowshares Ranger. That's why Rusty here went from 6 to 46, because that's the second time that happened.
And funnily enough, I'm not sure that he's lost any life other than to Glacial Chasm.
Yeah, it tracks. 2, then 4, then 6. Puts him to 8.
Yeah, which, I mean, that also makes sense that, Glacial Chasm makes it so it's the only life you lose.
Yeah.
The Ian, who is me and the Lands player, definitely has some top decks to get him out of this. There's a couple board wipes in the deck, although that may not get us out of it. Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
It's a good game.
This is a surprisingly more interesting game than you would expect from this matchup, I think.
My Zirda player waited until after the Merit Lage, after the Glacial Chasm was gone. That's where it's Plowshares the Merit Lage.
Yep, that's correct. So we can Maze of Ith the largest Crawling Barons, but then the other one is going to get pumped to high heck.
I mean, but he lost a lot of the mana when the Manifold Key went away.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah.
So, like, it will get pumped, but not to the win.
Yeah, and, Ian's bringing in 3 Fade from History. That's a good start.
I'm going to jump back over to Quebec's game.
Yeah, we can circle back. Yeah, that was definitely an interesting board state. That looked tricky to navigate for both players.
Yeah. It looks like Quebec is just cast Hymn to Torok.
Do you think this is the same game where there were 2 Engineered Plagues? I don't think it is. This is game 3.
They're in game 3 right now.
And, oh my god, Shurikai triggers Sword of the Meek.
That's pretty cool.
And Quebec's hand does not look conducive to winning a game against an active Shurikai.
No, not unless Doug here proves it.
Oh,
Yeah, Skeletal's crying for 3, 4, 5, 6 is pretty strong.
Yeah, and so it's very similar to Dig Through Time like that, except there it was quite a lot more cards than Dig Through Time. And one of the things that I know Doug really likes about Skeletal Scrying is that you can just fire it off for like 2 cards. Like it can be instant speed divination.
That's pretty cool, Ranger. I like that.
That's awesome. Hey, Herix, how's it going?
Herix! Hey, buddy. How you doing today? That Shurikai is so good right now. Oh, thanks, buddy.
Shurikai is.
It's a year. Herix has just finished subscribing for a whole year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you so much.
I want someone to register Yadaro in this format.
That sounds like fun. It's too bad you can't do Kalim, the blue one.
Which one?
Kalim is an alchemy only card, but it's basically Yidaro.
Okay.
Whenever you cycle it, the 4th time you cycle it, whenever you cycle it, you tap a permanent. And then the fourth
Oh, it
time you
looks like
cycle
Doug
it,
takes it.
yeah, it was good.
That makes sense. Quebec found a lot of lands and kind of unfortunate draws there. So what else we got?
We
Spencer's
still have
on
lands
burn.
going.
Hadel's done. Chase, if you're in chat, what are you playing today? I'm not gonna look because I'm lazy, but are you on
Oh, Troy is
are
still
you on
playing.
Lurs? Oh good.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that up to see where they are while this is on. It's an
Nice.
affinity mirror.
Ooh, Ian's got a pretty good hand.
I love land. I'm just gonna shout him out so that people can check it out.
Yeah, please
But
do.
I want to watch this match here.
So yeah, Ian's got a strong turn 2 play in that Sylvan Ranger, I believe is what that card is called. And it looks like he just picked up a mulch, which is kind of what you want to see.
Mhm.
He's continuing to drag his lands to the battlefield.
Good
Look,
night,
Moto's hard.
Harris. Cool.
And here we're going to Sylvan Scrying. Look, if he Sylvan Scryings and then puts a Dark Depths into play with the Ranger, he's threatening to make a Merit Lage fairly quickly.
I mean, that is a 3-turn clock. Like, it's this turn, Dark Depths, next turn, Merit Lage. And it's
Yeah.
Splendid Reclamation on the left.
And I think he needs to tap that Ranger. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't want to expose the Dark Depths. Is there anything in the sideboard?
There's a very good chance that the Zero player main decks a Field of Ruin or two.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought to look at that. There are none. There is. I wonder if there are 3 copies of Calamity's Wake in his sideboard. So
That is pretty good here, but only after the first Dark Depths.
yeah, exactly.
I love that J1.
It's definitely tricky. If Ian's not able to assemble multiple Dark Depths combos, it could be difficult.
How much is
And
Crystalline
he has
Sliver
the
right
option
now?
of going for it here.
J1, how much is Crystalline Sliver? Last I saw, Crystalline Sliver was like $6. I got you, Samson. Thank you so much for playing today. I was very happy that you did.
Yeah, really appreciate you coming by. Hope to see you again, Samson.
Rest up, buddy.
And Ian getting into the red zone with his
Everybody,
Ranger.
do
Let's go.
Yeah, do make sure you check out Samson. He's a great streamer.
You said Pioneer focused, right? Or
He-
Pioneer Legacy kind of does it all?
He does a lot. So I watch. So he does a lot of stuff, but I watch him play the most Black Red Sack. He's a great pilot of it.
Oh, that's cool. Very, very cool.
Mm-hmm. But he tends to play wherever the tournaments are. That's way
That
less
makes
than
sense.
I thought, J1.
I've seen Ironcrag feet registered in like
Dude.
Belcher lists.
Yeah, because it lets you turn 4 play and activate the Belcher.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah, Belcher's definitely viable in our format.
Belcher is like a good historic deck too on a MTGA.
That's interesting.
Generally, they don't bother with Ironcrag feet in the main, and then you always side it in because your opponent always brings in artifact removal, thinking they'll have a turn.
Oh, that's interesting.
Here's the 2020. Remember when they used to go, remember when they banned Dark Depths because the best deck was turn 1 Dark Depths, turn 2 Urborg, Vampire, Hexamage, my Dark Depths?
Yeah, that was a little silly. It does look like we accidentally passed through the end step and we didn't create our Dark Depths.
I think he might be, like, if your opponent has Swords to Plowshares here, like, how valuable is it to threaten the Dark Depths versus have 20 life?
Right, because that means that Preston can't tap out of white mana, and maybe Ian is waiting to get a crop rotation. Yeah, Chase, that's a really good point.
That's cool. That's a very good player. Just because you can make a 2020 doesn't mean you make a 2020.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And Preston's generating quite a lot of mana here. Maybe we'll buy Zerda or something. Or There could be a Steel Hellkite. Ugh,
Mystic Forge is so good in this deck.
scary.
The Mystic
Forge is
Forge lets
very, very scary.
you can tap it to exile the top card of your library, and you can cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact. But that tap lets
All
you
right.
run it with a Zeta companion.
So Ian's going for it. Copy the Dark Depths, keep the one with no counters, sack to the legendary rule, and then make a 20/20. If Preston has a swords, he fires it off here before a possible crop rotation.
It's going great, Taxi. We're having a lot of fun.
All right. Ian has assembled the 20/20, and Preston let him untap.
That's a fade from history.
That card is gasoline.
I got really good right now.
Oh. That's okay. We didn't need it anyway.
Yeah. So you can make everybody Zirda with Grim Monolith. Just makes infinite mana. And Rusty and I were once in a set drafting league where we would draft 3 sets and then play a constructed deck built out of those 3 sets. So you would only use those sets, and you would drop them and draft them and trade them. And then I drafted Ikoria for the Zirda Companion and Urza's Legacy for the Grand Monument. And then they changed how companions work, and my deck didn't work anymore.
You got a rules change midway through the process?
I got a rules change after building the deck before I got to play with the deck.
That's incredibly funny. Now, so with that mulch that Ian cast, he got 2 lands and he put them into play, and he is going to threaten to fade from history. Urza's Factory makes artifact creature tokens as well.
Right. And that's probably why he kept the Depopulate and Shadow the Sky in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you look down in the chat, someone says they got motoed. I don't know who did, but someone got motoed.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. It means they made some mistake somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Chase, I'm not seeing the deterministic lethal against the Swords to Plowshares, but maybe there was. If you can expand, I'd be curious. But and here, I think. Oh, okay. So that's gonna get rid of our Dark Depths. He does not have crop rotation, is the issue there. So that's gonna exile the Dark Depths.
You can, but they didn't have the crop rotation.
So this means that Ian, his win condition is reduced to Felidar Retreat.
Does he only have 1 Dark Depths?
It's $5.
Okay. Okay. That's a cool thing about this format.
But Ian can fire back here with the fade from history.
All right, so neither player can do anything. And he's going to have to...
Yeah, we're going to go to garbage time.
I like how he was very careful to get 1 point of damage in before he gives his opponent a currently unbeatable 2/2 bear.
Okay, look, when your primary win condition gets exiled, you got to get every point that you can.
That makes sense, James.
Yeah, Dark Depths.
Yeah, Thane, let's get you in here.
It's $4.12. Yep, thank you, J1. And why didn't we cast it? Maybe Ian is waiting for even more value. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, Stage could take like an Urza's Factory, and we can win with his own factory. We can say, look, we're lands. We'll do it.
Yeah.
There's not currently... There's no Raging Ravine. There's no Urza's Factory of our own in lands, which is perhaps an oversight.
I'm surprised you didn't put in Stirring Wildwoods when you added white.
I put it in the list, and then I said, this card's kind of shitty. It's never going to matter, and I cut it.
I mean, that's fair, but like, it's a defensive speed manland. Like, it blocks really well.
Yeah. The factory battle is going to change a little bit once we cast this Fade from history.
Yeah, there is a Shadow Storm in hand. You can't see it because it's behind Rusty. Oh yeah, they can. It's down there a little.
Wreck. You can see the Fade from history. It's the one with a little friendly bear on it. And there are 3 of those in the list. And are we going to activate the Thespian Stage and take a factory? No, we are not. I would like to see. Yeah, let's cast this.
Yeah, I guess you were just waiting for max greed.
Honestly, I respect it. It's going to be pretty good here regardless. And even if Preston were to make some tutus, they're artifacts, so they'll die. And it's a little hard to read, but you only ever get one bear.
Right. You get
out of
one
this.
bear.
It looks like it's giving your opponent 50 bears, but it's really just one bear. Yeah, Servo, he is an arena gamer more than a moto gamer, that's for sure. And he's not that frequently on arena either. He's actually, in the grand scheme of things, pretty new to Magic. He's only been playing regularly for a couple years now, post-COVID.
That's one of the coolest things about streaming is how many people I meet who are like, "Oh shit, you've been playing Magic for how long?" And it's like 2 months. Like, oh, well, that's a huge surprise.
Yeah, it's refreshing. And I gotta be honest, this board state simplified a lot.
Yeah, everything went away. I think he was probably supposed to tap the Thespian stage just so he could cycle the Thicket. But he's looking to get some value out of this Splendid Reclamation, even after the Calamity.
Yeah, agreed. And
Awesome, J1. You're still good. That's a good reason to be 0-2. I love your deck, though. I feel like we gotta just get the colors down.
yeah,
Okay, cool. I do
nice,
love your
1-1,
deck.
let's go. Okay, it looks like Big Purr is going to be dropping as well.
Okay, I'm sad to hear it, but now we won't have a buy.
Okay, nice. We'll keep it simple like that. And yeah, look at that bear. The bear and the factory going to town. Hating Aether Hub makes sense, J1. We saw that look a little awkward.
Mm-hmm. It was so sad because you played your Harmonic Sliver and then you didn't have a second white source.
So, one thing that I don't know for sure, there's a chance that Ian cut the Felidar retreats because they do kind of have negative synergy with Fade from History.
That's true.
I don't think he cut them. I suspect he still has a win condition, but we don't know for sure.
How much is Knight of the Relic right now? There might be a Knight
A little too much. They're like $1.70 or something.
I might build Knight Retreat.
I would love to see that.
I love that deck.
And it looks like we may cast this hour, but we may not as well.
I wonder if anybody... Remember when Extract was like $6? I bet that's a bulk right now.
Extract.
One blue instant, name a card, search your opponent's library for a card in exile. From Odyssey.
Whoa.
Uggin's here.
Uggin's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And although the tokens are colorless, they sure aren't artifacts.
Oh my god, you're absolutely right, J1.
Oh, that's a good point. We could also make our own factory is what it looks like we're doing here. That makes sense. Start competing on that axis a bit.
Yeah, I guess if he draws a white source, he can just Glacial Chasm to live until he can shatter.
Yeah, he is at a whopping 32 life.
Yeah, that's what happens when your opponent swords to plowshares your Merit Lage.
Yeah, and we do not have the ability to cast that, it looks like.
You can't craft Godzilla? I don't know how that works.
I also do not know how that works.
Is it like a skin?
Okay, so the Felidar retreats are still in the game.
Okay, and there's... what is that? Underdark Rift.
That is a Mouth of Ronan, but different.
Let me look it up. 1 sec.
It's 5 tap, exile it, and you can put an artifact, a creature, or a planeswalker into your opponent's library, X cards down.
I need to get that card.
So yeah, it's a land that could answer this Ugin, theoretically.
Oh my god, I need to buy this card.
Yes, it's cracked out Mouth of Ronan, man.
Yeah, I mean, I run 3 Snowlands and Mouth of Ronan in my commander deck just so that I can crap rotation for removal.
Yeah, Underdark Rift being able to answer really nearly anything is sort of crazy, right?
He's already running him, Ranger. He just has both. But he does need one more little thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think those cards are like 80 cents, which is relevant. There's the Kozilek.
Okay, but we have board wipes on deck. We're chilling.
Yeah, but does his opponent have a
Oh, a 4?
yeah.
Probably, right?
I don't know what
How many?
we gotta take a look at his list and find out. One sec, I'm gonna pull
He's
up.
got Hedron Archive, Mystic Forge, and 4 Thran Dynamos. There's a
Third
total of
hits?
6.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much. We're doing some $30 vintage today. Hi everybody, I'm Scuffle.
Yeah, and I'm Rusty. This is $30 budget vintage. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's vintage banned and restricted list, but your whole deck has to be $30 or less.
So right now we have a land. Our one player, the player we're watching, is playing lands with Dark Depths and Thespian stage, and their only copy of Dark Depths has been exiled, and they can only run one copy of Dark Depths because that card is $4, which is a significant expenditure.
Okay, and Preston's cracking the Mindstone. He's digging for a 4-drop to feed to that Kozilek and counter that Shatter this guy.
Yeah, he's just trying to counter the Wrath. I mean, it's a 12 total minutes. If he hits a 4-drop, he wins the game here.
Yep. Doug brings up a good point.
Right.
We price our decks on paper. That's Moxfield. And if anyone new is interested at all in $30 budget vintage, I'm dropping our link tree down there. We've got a Discord with over 300 users. We've got 7 concurrent brewing channels where we're brewing things up every day. We run Magic Online and Spell Table tournaments. And
Oh,
he found the Thran Dynamo.
He found the Dynamo. GG. He hit the Dynamo off of the Mind Stone and pitched it to the Kozilek.
Absolutely crazy. That was a wild match.
That's really good. All right, who's still playing? Let's see. Nighttime finished. Doug and Quebec finished. Shadaro and Newland. Is Shadaro streaming here?
I don't know. Shadara said they're not going to be able to stream until the finals. I think they've got some technological stuff going on.
Yeah. No problem. Who won? And who's talking?
Oh, yeah, I'm not hearing the chat right now. Let me
All
check.
Right, so Newland won or Shadaro won? All right. And
so our drops are big per.
Quebec, you lost 2-1. Quebec, you had a good match. I was really enjoying it. Oh, the first game was so good, and then the Skeletal Scrying got you. All right, looks like everybody is done. Let's go ahead and
hang tight. Let's catch our drops.
I think I got them all.
Eddie dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Big Purr dropped. Is that it? Jake dropped. Inner Poet. You got that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was starting the next round, everybody. Go ahead and find your opponent. We'll talk about some decks while you do. Same rules. Person on the left makes the game. Person on the right finds it. And here you are. All right. Matches are up in the contact your opponent section. And you can also go through Mascherino. There you go. Good luck. If you haven't found your... Oh, they can hear me. All right. Match pairings are up. Go ahead and find your opponent. If you haven't found your opponent by 7:04, you let me know. We do penalties at 7:04 and 7:10 or 7:09. 5 and 10 minutes, just like normal Magic. Good luck.
Are there any decks that you want to check out? I was really impressed by that mono white Zerta deck as well.
Yeah, I would love to see the mono white Zerta deck. Who's playing that one?
That was Nighttime Extreme Preston. And if anybody in chat wants to check out any of the decks, I just dropped a Google Doc with all of our competitors' deck lists today.
All right, so we've got Zero to the Dawnwalker. Each permanent in your starting deck has an activated ability. So fortunately, that does include lands. All lands have an activated ability.
Yep.
I love that this playset of Ugins is so cheap. I thought this card would be a lot more expensive.
That card's good, man. 384.
Wow, the snowballing that this deck is capable of. Just putting down like a 3-mana basalt monolith. Oh, this is infinite with Zirda, huh?
I think that's the point. Yeah, I think he's saying he's not interested in making a lot of mana. He's gonna make
that's fair
all the mana and then go from there.
Lots of is basalt monolith restricted? No, it's just $2.68.
Yep. I wonder his deck looks like it really wants Mystic Forge and Basalt Monolith. I wonder how easy it would be to splash blue and play our one copy of Tinker.
Oh, I mean, they're at 12 planes. I don't think it would be too hard.
You could just do like Prairie Streams, although the budget's a little close. I'm sure
Yeah.
that's something that Preston looked at, but I'd be interested to speak to him about that in the future.
Yeah, we'll give it, well, 90% colorless cards, 10% white cards. Yeah, but seeing the Crawling Barons with like a Zirda, so that is just 2 mana to grow, so strong.
Yeah, and you're making a lot of mana just with everything that's going on, so
Like Troy is already well into it with 5 permanents in play on turn 2.
Affinity starts out strong, man.
Really does.
You've got really everything that you want to have in that deck. You know, you've got all the Thoughtcast, Thought Monitor. We get to play the OG artifact lands, but look at that. A Hymn to Turok comes out and takes his 2 remaining permanents. He got a lot down fast, but whew.
All right, so we have our undefeated players are Infinity, Duglin, Blue Watch Watcher, Newland, Nighttime Extreme, and Chase.
So alrighty, what do we? So those
Turbo
decks
should be undefeated
are
too, right? No, the Turbo lost game 1.
gotcha. Yeah. So those matchups, Chase is on Red Black Luris, Infinity is on stock. Actually, it's not stock Affinity. It's a stock Affinity featuring Kappa Cannoneer, Mystic Forge, and Tinker.
Oh, very nice. I love the
See,
Cannoneer. I was very impressed with it.
the card is a big deal. Preston is playing that mono white Zerta deck. What is CD Newland playing? They're playing High Tide, right?
Yes.
Is that right? Let me
Yeah,
pull it up.
I'm just jumping around the Discord, seeing who's playing what. We've
No,
got
they are not playing High Tide. Oh,
Herbie
they're
and Penguy are
playing-
having a burn mirror.
they're playing the Tainted Strike deck.
Oh, it's Blazing
Shoal, Tainted
Shoal.
Strike Infect.
I love that
They're-
one.
You got to look at this deck. This deck's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I will in just a minute.
This is unbelievable.
All right.
It's like
Who was it? Hadel?
no, CD Newland. This deck is like a turn 1 kill deck often.
All right. So we have Cacophony Scamp, Chancellor of the Forge, Phoenix Chick, Simeon Spirit Guide, Wayward Guide Beast.
I guess it's a trample haste threat.
Yeah?
That's all he needs.
So Blazing Shoal pitching at Gargadon is 10 extra damage, which means that Cacophony Scamp is lethal on turn 2. Phoenix Chick is lethal on turn 1 with a Tainted Strike.
Well, you wouldn't have the. Oh, we've got 2 Simeon Spirit Guides. So yeah, the turn 1 is quite possible.
So turn 1 well, even without the Spirit Guide, turn 1 Chancellor of the Forge putting a 1/1 Goblin into play with an Assault Strobe or a Thud and the Blazing Shoal is lethal.
That's insane. And then look, Spoils of the
Hey,
Vault
Jamie!
as Spoils of the Vault as a 1-mana tutor to go get whatever missing piece we are.
Okay.
He is truly showing us why Blazing Shoal should not be legal. Is he streaming?
Hysterical.
I don't know if he.
No, I don't think he's streaming right now. But if you find someone in Discord who you want to watch, I'll switch over.
Yeah, I'm gonna message him.
Over here, we've got Troy on Affinity, and he's up against Mono Black Knights, and that's with Defile, and IR's Oathsworn says whenever a knight hits a player or a creature hits a player, you can put a counter on it unless if it has fewer than 4. Here, actually, I'll just put it up. How you doing today, Jamie? I wanted to see if you would like this format, so I'm glad you stopped by. I think it's very much up your alley.
A very cool format. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of room for brewing and expression. I think we're starting to get some of the top decks figured out, but there's tons of room to kind of try oddball strategies that we've never seen before.
Well,
like that
today we've got
Cacophony Scamp deck.
Yeah, today we've got hard control. We have some heavy combo. We have so many different flavors of aggressive decks. We've got tribal decks and burn. There's just a lot to
Dark
see.
Depths lands.
Oh my god, I do love the Dark Depths lands deck, and it's doing pretty well.
It's looking pretty good. It looks like, there's some strangeness to figure out, and maybe the list isn't as tight as it could be, but I think there's something there,
Yeah. So it seems, I think it's good. Like, maybe we want to try and squeeze one more Dark Depths in. That card also might get cheaper. This
I
matchup,
can see
though,
that being a
look
good
at
way
how
to spend the budget.
this board is so empty. It's just Sayara's Oathsworn.
Yeah, there's nothing. This is such a small resource game for no reason.
It's because our Knights player played a bunch of hymns to Torok. That'll
That's a
do
good
it.
point. Yeah. If you want a card to make a small board state, we don't get Wasteland, but yeah, him's a pretty good way to keep things simple.
Yeah, and Troy also had two Sojourner's Companions, just the 4/4, but he traded them off for Death Touch creatures.
So here's the thing that's really scary about Affinity to me, right? It's playing the 8 Thoughtcasts and 4 Forging the Anchors, right? So we're sitting here with 5 artifacts in play. That means our Thoughtcast costs 1 and our first Thought Monitor cast costs 2. If we find one of our 12 payoff spells, then we're going to be seriously cooking. And I'm just now realizing I don't actually know Troy Monster's list. I'm making assumptions based on.
So he's running. So Troy started with Servo's list, and I think he came down a little bit of the card draw. I think he just came down one Forging of the Anchor to get.
Yeah.
He's still running him, see, but he also has Nettle Cyst because he wanted a little bit more individually strong creatures. But wow,
And that makes sense.
This Forging of the Anchor is really good.
Yeah, 2 Cranial Platings.
Yeah, 3 mana draw 5 cards, pretty good. Like there's only
opponent?
the only misses are other card draw spells.
Exactly. You just get so many resources off of it. And one thing I'm noticing, we could sideboard Gigantha, but we're not choosing to spend the money on that, actually.
I think that's wise. Like, if you are at the point where you need to grab the Gigantha, you're in trouble.
Counterpoint, Gigantha holds a Cranial Plating.
That's true.
Look, just having one more live body that is just, it's just existing and it's holding a Cranial Plating, that's all you need.
Yeah, it's
because that's
20 power attacker pretty easily.
Yeah. I'm not saying, and it's a little awkward. The only way to actually cast it is off of a Springleaf Drum, but we'll make it work.
I mean, but you have Springleaf Drums. You always have Springleaf Drum.
You just find them off your Forging the Anchors. I don't see an issue here. Yeah,
it's true,
Gigantha can get hemmed. I will also say 8-Rack is a very viable deck in this format. Having a companion, even one that you can't cast, is worthwhile.
I'd love to see there's got to be a Lutri deck somewhere.
I played with Lutri Polymorph for a little bit. I never played it in paper because I could never get it to look very good.
I mean, but how much is Tainted Pact now?
That is a very interesting question. I've got no data on that.
$10. Hey, thank you so much for the follow, Couch Life. How you doing today? Why is this card?
Couch, glad you could make it.
It just got another printing.
Well, it's also really good.
It is really good. All right, when this card gets cheap, I'll build Lutri. Because Tainted Pact Lutri, that is what makes Lutri good.
Yeah. So Couch is actually he's one of the members of our North Carolina scene, I believe.
Oh, hey,
Couch, if I'm wrong, correct me. I forget where everyone's from, but we've got a little play group popping off down there.
That's awesome.
We've got some folks in Atlanta. We've got a Columbus scene developing, as well as an Indianapolis scene. Hadel's part of that. And we're going to be at SCG Columbus in about 2 weeks, and we're hoping to kind of jumpstart the Columbus scene there. We're going to have an announcement of a very, very cool tournament shortly after that.
Yeah, I'm glad. So is SCG Columbus next week?
It's 2 weeks from now. It's Labor Day weekend, so the end of the month into the 1st.
1 sec. Hey, C, you're echoing. Sorry.
No problem.
That's so cool. I love that it's growing. So this is
it's really, really neat. Because what I've found, and this is a very lethal looking attack, right?
Okay, yeah, but that's a Defile.
Yeah.
This is tough because that IR's Oathsworn has been in play since turn 2, and it's about to Demonic Tutor again.
Oh, that's crazy. I just want to go on record and say that a Gigantha would probably win the game right here.
I don't think that's true.
Look, all he really just needs one more warm body, right? Because if he paid 3 mana to get Giganta, okay, I don't know
Yeah,
if he
but
had
he'll
enough to
have to
cast it that
make
turn.
red mana. He'll in order to cast a Giganta, he has to tap his only creature.
That's a fair point. And look at that Exsanguinator Cavalry.
Are so
So that
cool.
that IR's Oathsworn is gonna get to Demonic Tutor, right? I've never seen it get to do that.
I mean, this is one of the decks that does like they don't run removal. Troy doesn't have a removal in this. But yeah,
No,
Exsanguinator Cavalry is so cool. I love this card.
Affinity is very much interested in asking the questions and not so much answering things.
Oof. And the card they got was a Vampire Nighthawk. Not Nighthawk. Way better than that. Night.
Honestly,
What is that
I
card
would kind
called?
of be interested in just getting a Defile.
Oh, this one's really cool.
And here we're doing a pretty good sized forging, but what are we gonna do with it?
I mean, that Vault Scourge is huge. Like, Vault Scourge here is the difference between winning and losing this game.
That's a good point. Gain 10,000 life.
Yeah. Putting 2 platings on the Vault Scourge is Troy's out. Like, I don't know if Troy had an out besides Vault Scourge. But the Knights player still has 2 cards in hand, and they're only down 2 Defiles. I think Troy does pay the 2 life here.
Yeah,
He needs the blockers.
right. If you're gonna get killed by a big creature, 2 life is it's worth more than what you're gonna lose.
Yeah, I mean, when all the attackers are lethal anyway, you can pay your life.
Well, we could have just used the Mistvault Bridge, right?
That's true,
We actually
but we
had black
need to be
mana.
able to equip the platings.
That is a good point. Yeah, shuffle those around because we've got to move them to the.
Oh, is he going for lethal with this? That's a 22-2 Ornithopter.
Interesting. And so then that'll force the block. Yeah, he got exactly the lethal. And assuming the
I
Knights player doesn't have removal, he'll be able to double block with the Vault Scourge and stay alive, potentially.
all right, I like that play a lot. I think that was pretty good.
I respect it. Unfortunately, there's a blood token over there. Have you ever used a blood
I
token,
have
Scuffle? It feels like
I
cheating.
I draft, so yes.
Good point. I have been so shocked by the blood tokens this cavalry generates because they're so strong.
It's so much like looting is a big deal in Magic.
You heard it here first, folks. Looting is a big deal.
You,
And so,
efficient card selection is worth cards.
yeah, I mean, Faithless Looting is banned in Modern, right? Blood token is basically that. Inquisition, notably, the Inquisition didn't get looted away. Perhaps it's looking to catch a counterspell or something. We're looting. I don't know what we'll be discarding here.
So he managed to keep the counters on IR's. Oh, she managed to keep the counters on IR's Oathsworn using the Exsanguinator Cavalry to jump over 4.
Drag the.
Hey, buddy. Looting is a big deal, Hadel. Looting matters. So you can check this out. We've got Mono Black Knights against Blue Black Affinity. And Troy jumped back up to 20 life.
Wow.
And suddenly the game is at parity again. Troy has drawn an extra 9 cards this game off 2 Forging the Anchor, and he still has no cards in hand.
You know what breaks a game that's at parity wide open? A free 8th card in your starting hand.
It's on the left. It's very tiny. It's these little numbers over here. So 0
I
cards in
think
hand and 1 card in hand. Oh, it would be up here.
yeah, it may be cut off a little bit,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. 2 cards in hand. 2 cards up here, 1 card here.
Can you relook at your chat a little bit, maybe to like the right of the names?
Oh, I see. I see what we can do.
Yeah, maybe slide it off to like some of that empty space. Yeah. Oh, that seems fine.
Yeah. All right. We'll turn off what you had to say, everybody, when we need to see what cards do.
All right, so he drew a Thoughtcast into a Thought Monitor, and this is what I was talking about.
Devastating.
Affinity sort of doesn't care about him to Turok because it's got so many cards that generate so much
Yeah,
velocity, it just gets you right back in. Let's go, man. People are not respecting it.
You know what? I think we. So, Hadel, if you want to link your deck list here, we'd love to see it.
I can pull it up.
When people arrive, I think it's fine if they put their deck list in because then they can answer questions about them.
I like that. Yeah, kind of discuss it.
Yeah. Then we get to talk to the designers about it. But yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. So back in the game here, we have one instant speed reactivation to shuttle our cranial plating, right? Because Springleaf Drum makes one black, and either Mistvault Bridge or Springleaf Drum makes the second black. But all of the knights have Menace, right?
That is good advice, Vegas. All the knights have Menace except the Flyer. But yeah, Comet's up to 35?
Exsanguinator Cavalry has lifelink.
Oh my god, it does.
And so does...
Yeah, two lifelinkers here. Yeah. It
looks like Martyr Proc isn't the only life gain deck in the format.
All right, but we've seen 4 different decks gain life in increments of 20 or more today. To be fair, a lot of it is because of opposing Swords to Plowshares. But if you're making a 2020, you gotta assume that you'll gain 20 life off of a Swords to Plowshare at some point.
20 is a lot of life.
It really is. There's a reason we only start with 20 life. Yes. So midweek magic on MTG Arena this week was Historic Pauper. So we were just talking about the best deck you could build, and the one we ended up running in the server was Black Green Dredge with Gnaw to the Bone. Because when your opponent's trying to win with Healer's Hawks, it is very hard to beat suddenly gaining 60 life.
Yeah, and don't play that. So we just drew a Moonsnare prototype, which has a secret mode.
Is this lethal?
He better do it before blocks if he wants to.
Yeah, the channel on Moonsnare prototype has been really relevant.
And it looks like we're giving her...
I'm so glad, Asparagus. We had fun with it. Looks like Troy decided he's okay with this trade. Weirdly, he's got a pretty strong ability to grind.
Yeah, because he can just potentially bounce on a Sanguinator Cavalry.
Right, it's only got 36 power.
It looks like actually I can put that in.
I think he wants to keep Comet off of this, which means he wants to wait until after Comet draws a card.
Oh, interesting. Scuffle, I don't seem to have the ability to update standings. Or I guess I can't report scores.
That's weird. You might just be logged out. Matcherino logs you out automatically after like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I am actually logged out. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to update Doug's standings when I get back in. I don't want to do that. It looks like Doug, on his restricted pile, did lose to High Tide, I believe.
Yeah, that's a rough matchup because individual counterspells don't do that much. It's critical mass of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Doug may have been a little bit teched for creature decks tonight. Sometimes he's packing like quite a lot of extirpates and things that can make it difficult for combo.
Ooh, yeah. But he did have 3 in the board and just probably didn't hit him.
Okay, yeah, I mean that happens sometimes. High Tide can turn to you.
All right, I dropped J1. Did you say someone else wanted to drop?
I don't know about this round. Got Doug's score in. I haven't looked at this match in a moment. Duress, Mind Twist for 2 and 2 counterspells. Oh, and you got Turnabout down. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, Troy Monster won that one. That's awesome.
That was a great match.
Yeah, I looked away to put in some scores, but
no, I just saw the very end. Yeah, he gained 19 life from the Vault Scourge. All right,
Yeah,
let's see who
Vault
else is
Scourge is
playing.
huge.
Do be sure if you want to see the rest of this match, you can watch it without us, but we will come back to it a little later. Let's go ahead and see who else we got.
I don't know who else is still live.
Budget Vintage 30 and somebody on Black Red. Phineas?
Oh, let's watch Chase on Black Red. We haven't seen any of that Luris deck, and it's so
Oh, I
good.
would love to. And there,
Let me pull it up. I'll drop it in chat in a second.
Troy and Comet, that was a hell of a match. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, hell of a game. I know you're still going.
So there's this red-black Luris list. It is very powerful, and here we see it starting off. Dragon's Rage's Channeler into, it looks like 3 baubles, although Scuffle, your stream is not showing it at the moment.
Oh, hold up. Sorry about that, everybody. Here it is.
Yeah, so look at this. Multiple baubles to kick things off. And then the rest of the hand, although it looks like we don't have black mana, still pretty good stuff.
So behind Rousey is another bauble. There's an Inquisition and Dreams of Steel and Oil too.
Scuffle, I am dropping Shadaro at their request.
Okay. Do you want me to do it or you got it?
No, I got it. I just wanted to make sure you knew.
Thanks.
I really like the tag team TOing. I certainly could not run a 21-person tournament solo.
I mean, even a local game store gets a second person in for 16 players.
Very, very good point. So yeah, look at all these game actions he's taking.
Triple Bobble will do it.
Yeah.
Triple Bobble with the Dragon Rage Channeler into straight up Soul Ring.
That is a budget vintage enjoyer if I've ever seen
one. I cannot get over how much Soul Ring impacts this format.
I'm not going to say it's not a little high rolly, but it's vintage, baby. That's what we got.
That's fine.
We can talk whether it's good game design or not, but it sure is here.
Who is Budget Vintage Enjoy? Hang
on. That's Infinity. They're borrowing my account.
Are they streaming here?
They are, but they're not in players' meeting. Do you want me to get them in?
No, I just wanted to see if we could check the hand really quick, but I'm pretty happy here.
Let me get some data. I got you.
We have 3. So Catch Life, we have 3 affinities out of 21 players. The 1 in 7 decks are affinity.
Honestly, that sounds right. I just peeped his hand. It is Thoughtcast, Thought Monitor, Artifact Land.
Okay.
But look, we're gonna take. So Dreams of Steel and Oil can actually take the Artifact Land.
That's really funny. Do you take the Artifact Land here, or do you take the Thought Monitor?
Unfortunately, the Inquisition is dead.
I like that one, Vegas. I'm gonna leave this matchup. I gotta get some more water, but I'll leave things to you for a minute.
Yeah, do your thing. I'll hold it down. So that DRC has to attack. That is simply how that card works. And we are delirious. We have quite a few baubles in hand. Perhaps more mountains than we necessarily wanted. Our opponent is going to play that tap land. Their affinity count is going to be 4, and then they'll be able to cast that Thoughtcast. That's pretty scary because, as we saw in the other match where Troy Monster was playing, once you start casting Thoughtcasts, you really start chaining. So I don't want to hear your opinion. You won't put Gigantha in your deck. Play Gigantha. Or actually, I'm curious. I know I asked you about it once. I think you said you just didn't like to play companions. Or is there another reason we're not playing Gigantha? Okay, Gigantha's bad. Got it. Like on a moral level, or let's see, I thought I was dead. All right. Thoughtcast, I didn't see what it picked up. I can go check in a few minutes. Casting a Spring Leaf. So if this Gigantha wins the game, you owe me dinner, okay? So we do have DRC plus Lightning Bolt. Well, Servo, there's 2 Springleaf drums in play. We are keeping the DRC? I don't know. So right now, Chase really has to decide, does he want this piece of gas or is he really looking for more interaction? It's a pretty good clock, all things considered. We're delirious, and we will have an active Dreadhorde Arcanist that can start flashing back some lightning bolts. And our opponent is quasi Hellbent, and we have a Dreadhorde Arcanist. And this is exactly where the red-black Luris deck wants things to be. Just, throw out some interaction, rip apart their hand a little bit, and then stick something that's going to push damage or perhaps even generate value, like this Dreadhorde. And then it's still all backed up by that Luris that's in the companion zone. It does cost a total of 6 mana to get out, and we don't have double black right now. But look, having Luris on deck is a big deal. Ornithopter, I believe, was the draw for budget vintage enjoyer over there, which is not the ideal draw at this game state. That is the thing about Affinity, though, right? You have some cards that are incredibly high impact, like Thoughtcast and Cranial Plating, and then you have some cards that are absolutely hardly cards at all. They just cost very little mana and are artifacts. Um, it kind of just is the nature of the beast, right? That's what Affinity does. That's what the cards are, and I gotta be honest, there's something thrilling about dumping your hand at the speed that Affinity does. I had never played an Affinity deck before this format. I missed out on like Mox Opal Modern Affinity, and I started playing this deck probably 6 or 8 months ago, and it was very, very fun. I think it's very hard to have a bad time as you're chaining through those spells. And here, we're going to get double DRCs, so each of our lightning bolts, if we choose to cast them, we do not choose to cast them. Gigantha, let's go. Asparagus, Doug is a strong believer in 3-color decks in this format, I believe. He's actually playing an Esper restricted list deck today, backed up by Astrolabe. Additionally, the Gates mana base is really good at enabling a lot of colors. And lands like Prairie Stream are pretty good. So there is a very real downside to going to 3-color up from 2. But you can definitely do it, which I gotta be honest, I find it very refreshing that there's a downside to playing additional colors because I'll watch a modern stream sometimes and it's turn 2 and people are casting their leyline bindings for 1 mana and I'm just like, what's the fucking point? Why do we have colors if you're casting a leyline binding on turn 2 and doing whatever you want? Yeah, we have really
All
interesting
right,
fixing like
I'm
happening.
back.
Hey, welcome back.
What did I
Bye,
miss?
Gigantha. So yeah, we've got both of our companions being purchased, but the Gigantha got discarded, and here we just see Luris kind of doing what it does, right? We've got DRCs beating down in the air. We cast some pretty premium removal
Good.
and interaction,
I see some lightning
and
bolt.
yeah, Croxa hit the graveyard. Um, I would love to see Lotless Troll or
Oh,
Poor
that's
Man's
true,
John. Those
Dargo.
sound sick. Asparagus, you are in the Discord. I remember you joined. We do have 7 brewing channels right now. So if you ever want to discuss a brew you're working on, you can always just drop a Moxfield link in there, and all of us nerds are going to swarm out of the woodwork and start doing weird Scryfall searches and suggesting cards.
I think Gates would work just because Gates Ablaze is so efficient.
Yeah, we've seen some Gates decks. Our buddy Wally plays 5-color Niv to light and uses a Gates mana base. Although I think he only sideboards Gates Ablaze.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
no
makes
worries,
sense
Terry.
because the Niv deck runs so many single target interactive spells.
Right, right.
Like you get access to Lightning Helix and you get access to Deafening Clarion.
Yeah. I was actually considering. Ooh, look at this. We're casting our Luris. This looks bad for Affinity, I gotta say. There is a
Yeah.
series of draws that could perhaps save them.
I mean, they could
It
always go
definitely
thought
involves.
cast into thought monitor, thought monitor, thought monitor, thought monitor.
Oh, I'm sorry. We are not casting Luris. We are flashing back Croxa,
Oh,
which I
that's
respect it
probably better.
because we're gonna deal 3 damage here, and then Crooks is gonna deal potentially 3 more damage. We did take ourselves off Delirium, which is a little bit interesting,
Because the
but
tainted lands are like a buck.
we have the option to cast Luris and then cast a Bobble. Look at that Thought Cast. If anything's going to do anything, it's going to start with a Thought Cast.
Yes.
Yes, Asparagus, we have been loving the bonus sheets on standard sets. That's where Croxa got reprinted on. He was in the
Dominaria Legends.
no, the Multiverse Legends sheet.
Oh yeah.
But so we got a huge buff when Brothers War came out because cards like Mishra's Bobble got reprinted.
And Sword of the Meek.
Now we are all waiting with bated breath for the Wilds of Eldraine enchantment reprint set.
Man, we'll get Bitter Blossom in this format.
Is it a mythic or is it a rare?
I don't remember.
I will say we're getting Utopia Sprawl, Rest in Peace, and Leyline of Sanctity, all of which I think are going to make significant changes to the format.
Is Necropotence restricted?
I should know that, but I gotta be honest, guys. I search what's restricted like once a week. It's crazy. What? Oh, it's banned. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
In Vintage?
Well, no, it would be restricted. Yeah, you can't ban things in Vintage.
He just wants to see the yes.
Scuffle, you're doing crazy thing. Okay, cool.
No, that's not me doing crazy things. That's this guy we're watching. All right, but Troy and Comet are still playing, so let's jump back over to that match.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know there was a victory screen for this.
Yeah, for match
But
arena.
yeah, so like that Luris deck is clearly very good, but what happens when Leyline of Sanctity and Rest in Peace both become available? Is Luris no longer a tier 1 deck? Are people going to play those cards? Will they be in budget? I don't know.
You
And
can play
really,
Bitter
really
Blossom
exciting.
in your Luris deck.
That's great. I hadn't thought about that. And I did talk to CD Newland. He is going to stream next round, so we'll be able to check out that crazy list. That list was actually cooked up by their friend Dat Rubino, who is in our Discord. He was not able to play today, but it looks insane.
All right, so Necropotence is currently $18. So we'd have to more than have it, but it is not restricted or banned or anything.
Hi King, I've used Leyland before, and and the decks it beats are more than you think. Yeah, that's a good point.
Looks like the round is over. Did we drop everybody who needed to drop? Does anybody else?
Shadaro had to get dropped. I don't think anyone else was dropping.
Does anybody else need to drop before I go for it?
You do the hard work.
Does anybody else need to drop before I pair this next round? Shadaro needed to drop. Any other drops? It is not restricted in Vintage. It's just not good enough in Vintage. I think it might be banned in Legacy. Is it really? I just looking at the Vintage restricted list, but I may have just missed it. But I'm okay with that. Like I just want a Dark Ritual Necropotence. All right, we're gonna finalize the round. Hang on. Anybody want to drop? I think we got everybody. Let me just check. Java Bean dropped. That was a while ago. Okay. I think we're good.
All right, we are. Yeah, we're discovering Necropotence is restricted. That makes a lot of sense. But hey, if it becomes a $5 card, I'm sure Alexander Clamilton will try to put it in a deck.
I'm surprised he's not playing today. I thought he'd be so excited for a shot at getting to play Belcher.
So I talked to him and I offered to loan him an account and a deck, but he's actually traveling today.
Ah, that makes sense. He travels for speech tournaments, I think.
Gotcha. Hardened Scales down to 350. It was
Ooh.
$17 for a playset prior to it being spoiled. So it's down to $14, and I bet it drops to what, $2?
It's always it's always inflated for the pre-orders. So once the set actually releases, it'll drop a lot. I think that's gonna be
I'm
$1.
excited.
Yeah, scale's gonna be
Hangerback
real.
Walker. Hangerback Walker is down to like $1.10. And the new card from the colorless commander deck,
Oh,
Omarthus
just one sec.
Ghostfire Initiate.
Everybody, the pairings are up for the next round. Find your opponent. If you don't have your opponent by 7:40, let me know. Sorry, you're good.
Watch stream and
All right, who's undefeated right now? So we're going into round 4. We have 3-3-0s.
Is
Chase, CD. I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, so Chase is Red Black Luris. CD is the all-in Tainted Strike deck that we're gonna spectate first, and that will be fast, so let's tune into that.
Yeah.
Blue Wanderer is High Tide. Who else was on there? I believe CD is gonna stream for us.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's good, Spare. Like, I think like the only thing that holding Hardened Scales back right now is how much of your deck's cost goes into Hardened Scales.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment.
But like,
I will say
you need things like
it's-
Jamoka's command, like just the little things that those make the deck, and I think you'll be able to afford them once Hardened Scales.
There is that green-white list. Actually, Asparagus, I can link you to a list.
What
Give me
is
one
the
second.
name of the person we playing the Blazing Shoal deck?
CD Newland.
Oh,
They
there he
said they
is.
would stream, but I don't know if it's up yet.
He just came back over.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, it's live now. Great. And that could be a very quick match. So.
Yeah, I'm watching.
Ranger, are you one of the guys who worked on that deck? I know it was someone else. Asparagus, I just linked a green-white scales deck with Luris and a mono-green scales deck with no Luris.
This is a rough match. Like, this deck really doesn't want to deal with bolts, pushes, and inquisitions.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
But I mean, a fast enough deck can beat anything.
CD can just win the game on his turn 1, right? And it looks like he won the die roll.
This is like when we watched Thane on Asmo Food, and we were like, Thane's gonna beat High Tide because they have a damping sphere turn 2, and then lost before their second turn. Sorry, Thane.
Look, like my hero Sonic Hedgehog said, gotta go fast. Sometimes you just go fast.
All right, this hand has everything but a creature. No creatures in this hand.
Well, it's got no shoal either.
That's true. It does have the creature. Okay, so now we've got. Is this a turn 2 kill? No, it doesn't have a 10 drop. This deck needs so many pieces for the turn 1 kill. All right, you need a 10 shoal, 10 mana spell, 1 drop with haste. Now for the turn 2 kill is a little more reasonable.
We would kill if we draw Tainted Pact or a 10 drop, right?
Mm-hmm.
That probably just takes the shoal, though. That makes it harder.
It does.
And I think here, we're going to see part of why this Red-Black Luris deck is so good. It just interacts on basically all axes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got removal, hand hate, grave hate.
Lantern control in this format.
I'd love to see it. I would love that. Create a Gargadon.
Right after the shoal is gone. I mean, this was a turn 2 kill.
It was a turn 2 kill.
He had the turn 2 kill if it wasn't for the Inquisition.
On all to 5.
Yeah. It is, generally speaking, the more likely a deck is to get the kill that fast, the more fragile it is too.
Right, and that's fair.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
It's the fragility consistency axis that you have to walk.
Right. That's why one of my favorite combo decks is Clever Lumimancer Chain of Smog, because it deals infinite damage on turn 2, but you have to discard your hand.
Yeah, it's very, very all in. And okay, so he tapped out. Is he
this
dead?
is legal. So it's not necessarily lethal because if you name Blazing Shoal and it's not in the top 18 cards, you do die.
Okay, but we're here to gamble, and I've
Yeah,
heard that you like to
I
gamble.
do indeed. Let's see
Are
it.
there 4 copies of Shoal? Let's go!
It only counts 17 life.
And yeah, he just shoals it and then give it double strike. Look, Chase, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't have tapped out on turn 2 after interacting.
You should have tapped out on turn 2 after taking your opponent's most important card out of their hand. The best would have been if you if he'd done that and then his opponent just bolted him.
Okay, so here's what I think is one of the craziest things about this format, right? This has been, Scuffle, this has been my primary way of playing Magic. I've been playing on a weekly basis for more than a year now.
Mm-hmm.
I've been making content and running the Discord for about 8 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that Blazing Shoal deck before. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that came out of nowhere. Just a new person showed up and their brain is crazy and they put it together. And it's like, how many more decks like that do you think there are? Probably a lot because it's vintage. We have 20,000 cards.
So for everybody else, there was at the very first modern tournament, Blazing Shoal got banned after one tournament because somebody played it in Infect. They ran Glistener Elf, Blighted Agent, and Blazing Shoal. And then Summoner's Pact and Progenitus. It's Summoner's Pact for Progenitus and pitch it to a Blazing Shoal.
All right, so let's. Yeah, presumably all the nonsense vintage decks. So what changes post board?
Well, he definitely brings in Apostle's Blessing. I think he's on the fence on these duresses. Because, like, honestly, you're not going to hit interaction that matters. Because if you duress on turn 1, you get to take the... You're not going to hit interaction that matters on the draw. On the play, he may reconsider. But if he's on the draw and he duresses after his opponent Inquisitions, that doesn't do anything. And if he is about to attack and he needs... So, like, normally, you would duress before you comboed off. But in this deck, if you try and duress your opponent before... they bolt you before you Blazing Shoal your 1/1, then they respawn by lightning bolting your 1/1.
Yeah, this seems tricky on the draw. Luckily, there is a game 3. Man, that die roll was important.
It really was.
It really always is.
It looks like he's decided. So this is just an interesting thing from the pilot. The pilot has just showed us that Thud is a more valuable win condition than Assault Strobe. And I think that's probably correct, just because the Assault Strobe targets a creature, but Thud sacrifices the creature. So
yeah, you're right. So if your opponent waits to get additional value, like when you go for it, you may be able to cheat them with Thud.
Right. Because you sack is part of the cost. This Wayward Guide Beast with Gemstone Mine feels really good.
Oh, that's cool. And you only pick up when it deals combat damage, right?
So it does have to hit.
So, okay, with Spoils of the Vault here, he can go for it turn 2. What do you name here?
I think you name Blazing Shoal and then get sad when your opponent shows you Spoils of the Vault.
And if we draw a Simian Spirit Guide, we win, I think.
We need a Guide Beast. No, we're one short. We don't have a doubler. We only have.
Oh yeah.
We only have 10 damage.
We would ship for like 14
or
something.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's also more. Thud is a more resilient thing than Assault Strobe in the face of bolts too. And like Cabal Therapies came in, and Finning has probably brought in as much single target removal as he has access to in the board.
So we found the Assault Strobe. So next turn, we could end step Spoils maybe, or we could generate.
I think we put out the chick, get in for 1.
Oh, hey, Rubino, you're here. You made this deck, is what I'm told, right?
Oh.
This deck is beautiful. I don't know if you were here earlier. I was saying it's so amazing that, like, I've been playing this format for a year or whatever, and then you just roll up with this deck I've never seen before, and it's crazy.
Blazing Shoal was like $38 So it was such a funny arc because that was the pro tour, right? And the first time somebody plays it, it's like, oh shit, Blazing Shoal is awesome, and it went from a nickel to $40, and then it did it 3 more times, and you just watched it drop because it was doing so well. They're like, oh well, that's not gonna last.
Yeah, yeah, too good for too long. Okay, so this came out of Penny Dreadful. Um,
What's the actual price limit on Penny Dreadful? Is it actually a
it
penny?
is less than 0.01 tickets on Moto, I believe.
Oh.
Um, and I know Preston, who was the undisputed champ of our first paper league at the start of the year, he did some pretty deep dives on oh, 0.02. He did some pretty deep dives on Penny Dreadful. Um, Rubino, are you a Penny Dreadful player? Is that like where you do you attack with this here? Honestly, I would consider leaving the Guide Beast. Oh, Guide Beast gets killed. Interesting.
Because the problem here is your opponent has mana up and they know about the spoils. Like
That's a good point.
you don't go spoils is so cool because like it is a gamble, but you don't take it if you don't have to.
That's a good point. And honestly, it looks like this deck can play it kind of slow and just chip a little bit.
Hmm.
Oh, whoa! I did not know that we had 3 Penny Dreadful big dogs in here. I'm not joking. That's actually super cool.
That's
I feel like
cool.
there's a ton of overlap between this format and Penny Dreadful, just because it's old busted cards on a budget. So it feels like our
Well,
communities
the
could really.
biggest general difference between this format and Penny Dreadful is if in Penny Dreadful, Blazing Shoal becomes a totally busted, ridiculous deck, then that card goes up to 0.03 tickets and the deck just stops. You can't play the deck at all anymore. Whereas in this one, if Blazing Shoal goes up to 25 cents, well, we have to make some adjustments, but the deck doesn't go away.
Right, it can still theoretically exist.
I mean,
I just
not even
dropped.
theoretically. You just have to you make it one card less consistent. Maybe you have to take
Yeah,
out a rare for another Raging Goblin.
right. And Chase is tapped out. Is he dead?
Yes.
Probably. Yes.
Blazing Shoal, Assault Strobe.
Yep. With Apostle's Blessing backup.
Slaughter Pact, cheap enough for this deck.
Fuck, I don't know.
All right,
Okay.
that was a very fast match. Let's see who else is
Uh,
playing. Oh, they're done. I kind of want to see more of Quebec's gameplay. I really like Quebec's deck on this one.
I see multiple white plumes in play.
Yeah, that is two. Oh, Resto Kiki. What a name! I was just talking about Resto Kiki for. I wrote a Cube article. We were talking about all the best ways to win the game in the Vintage Cube. That
Hey, Resto, glad
was
you
really
could make
good.
it. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah,
I
he
messaged.
drew pretty well, but like that deck's really scary.
Yeah, I messaged CD and I said that was cool, and he said those were some unreal draws. So yeah, he definitely recognizes he probably ran a little bit above average there.
All right, so this is a tough game because I mean, this Vault Scourge is hitting pretty hard, gaining a lot of life. Looks like because he's took the initiative and put all the counters on the Vault Scourge.
Yeah, that's a big game, and I think Initiative is clearly one of the top contenders in this format. White Flume being so cheap in paper is just absolutely brutal.
Hmm.
Um, but I think Affinity has really good game against it because you scrap for the initiative so well.
Looks like Quebec did manage to grab the Thoughtcast with the Tidehall Skull. It probably feels good.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of pressure
For
coming across from the white black initiative side of things.
real. I love Quebec went all in on the hand disruption, which I think was a really good choice. Tidehall Scholars, Anointed Peacekeepers, Spellbinders, and then Trespassers as even more just light disruption. He's running Thalias too.
Yeah, and something's got to happen here.
Like Quebec
Okay,
winning.
all right, I guess something happened. Let's see. It looks like Dingus is sideboarding in the lands matchup. I don't know who his opponent is.
Let's take a look at Doug's vintage
Yeah, I
control.
love checking on
All
Doug.
right, so he's up against Nighttime Extreme Zirda deck.
Okay.
We'll get you
Yeah,
in here,
Resto, really
Resto.
hope you can make it. I was mentioning earlier, it feels like there's a ton of overlap in like potentially interested players between Penny Dreadful and this format because they just share a lot of similarities.
Hmm.
Yeah, so there's that.
We always see Chalice Chalice. This is a little tough for Doug. Like this is a good Doug has a little bit of trouble interacting with Nighttime's style of winning the game. So like Crawling Barons is really good against Doug. But Doug doesn't have like a fade from history or a way to turn off these artifacts.
Yeah, does he's got no energy fluxes today?
Good thing, Chase, just let me know when it happens.
Yep, I just posted two Moxfield links. One, it's both the decks here: the mono white combo deck and the restricted sword deck with Shurikai.
Doug, this looks like this is at least game 2. Doug did bring in that disenchant.
What round is this scuffle? Is this round 4?
This is round 4. There's one round left after this. There's no cut
Okay.
to top 8. Resto,
Yeah.
we would cut to top 8 if we, well, I think we'll have to play on the next one with a cut to top 8, which means we'll need to start it up in the morning.
Yeah, especially if it continues to grow. 21's insane.
I mean, 21 is insane, especially because we gave people 5 days notice. Like, it, we'll do the full invitation system, give people a week or two to prep next time.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, Scuffle. I'm good to lock in a date for the next Moto tournament as soon as you want to.
So 26th is my birthday, so I'm gonna be having a birthday stream for that. We could
so
do
fun.
maybe this 26th is my birthday, and it's also the Arena Cube Open, which I'm very excited for. And then so we could do the 2nd or the 9th would work well for me.
2nd is SCG Columbus weekend, so I can't do that.
Yeah, but if that's the case, we want to lock in the 9th because then you can tell people about the MTGO tournament at SCG Columbus.
Yeah, I think locking in the 9th is going to be the move.
Yeah, we can do this at least once a month. I like these.
Yeah, this is fun. It's so different. It's so unique.
I love seeing, like, I'm so sick of casting mono black aggro mirrors in standard.
Well, boy, have we got mono black for you here.
These are so much better. I want to see my opponent Ugin into this Shurikai.
And yeah, Doug really wanted to find a counterspell there, but unfortunately does not, even off the 2 cards. I will say, that's one of the crazy things about Shurikai. You're not just drawing a card. You're drawing 2 and then pitching 1, right? Is that the text?
Draw 2 cards, discard a card, make a 1/1 pilot. It's
When
crazy
I
that card's only
described
4
I couldn't
mana.
believe it. That card's insane.
Good thing, Comet. I had so much fun watching your Magic. Your Magic against Troy was so good.
Yeah, thank you for playing, Comet.
I was really glad you could make it. We'll do this again. I think we were just discussing we're going to do it again on a Saturday in the near future. Not that near. 26th, 2nd, 9th. We're probably going to do the 9th.
One of those days. Yeah, we'll announce it when we get to it.
I think next week we might be able to do Peasant Cube next week. It's only tough because there's actual Cube open. I don't want to compete with that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
All right, I got you. I got you dropped, Comet. You're good to go. But the next one will also be on a Saturday. Oh, thanks, Rusty. That's very sweet. No problem.
Servo complained about your 90-second unskippable ads.
I don't have control over that. Servo can subscribe.
What I said. But Servo does a lot of good
Rusty.
work for our community, and I'm very thankful to have him. So I'm happy to throw it. For those of you who don't know, Servo made the Discord logo that we use, and we've been throwing that all over all kinds of marketing shit. So
I probably should have got one for Servo. I feel bad now. But you beat me to it. So thank you for that.
That's all right. So here Doug is holding up counterspell mana, which I gotta be honest, if Doug holds up counterspell mana, you respect it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's good. Like, it's hang on, I gotta make sure I'm muted. It is a good bluff here. Like, you just get used to your opponent having it.
Yeah, but maybe we're crawling Baronsing? Nope, it's another Ugin.
Ugin is so powerful in this deck. Like, the +1 being both make a 2/2 and draw a card, where usually Planeswalkers get to only do one or the other. Crazy. So strong.
We can try to knock it down, but Actually, we can't with a Crawling Barrens activation up. That's tough.
Well, so they need 2 Crawling Barrens activations to block the Danitha. But that looks like he knew that and just minus the Ugin.
I respect that. Sometimes you just have to cast a removal spell for 6 mana.
Remove Tears is really like that. I loved, so that's part of a cycle of future site designs. Some of you'd recognize, where they made every single one of the 5 lands a different set mechanically. So like the green-white one was Horizon Canopy. That one drew a card. The red-green one was Grove of the Burn Willows, which gave your opponent 1 life. But River of Tears is probably the coolest one, because it basically makes a black mana on your turn and a blue mana on the opponent's turn.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Like
I tried really hard to put Grove of the
cool.
Burn Willows in my lands deck, but
giving your opponent a life is tough.
Well, what I really found out was that punishing fire sucks ass in this format.
I mean, it's good against like knights. There's a lot of decks like or elves, but yeah, it's a sideboard card.
Yeah, like you can't construct your deck around it, and like once you get the Grove and all that, ooh,
this is lethal like, if Zirda resolves.
Right. Fortunately, Doug's got a couple different pieces of interaction.
He has 3 ways to stop this combo. But for those of you who don't know, Basalt Manoliths is 3 mana, tap to make 3, 3 to untap it, and then Zirda reduces the cost by 2, which means that you can pay 1 to untap Basalt Manolith and then tap it for 3 over and over again.
And
I love that servo.
One thing that's really interesting to note as well is, let's say he did assemble infinite mana. He could make an infinitely large Crawling Barrens before he made it a creature. Ooh.
He could also let his opponent Swords to Plowshares it, and then in response make it infinitely large to have infinite life.
How funny is it that they both have Disenchants and Swords to Plowshares in their hand? The decks are so incredibly different. They're not even on like the same spectrum of design, but they've got this overlap.
Just powerful white spells.
I'm
so glad Disenchant is so good.
Did he actually discard there?
I don't know. I missed it. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Hey, which card did you pull with that with the discard spell there? Thank you.
It was Disenchant? Okay.
Thanks.
That makes sense. Protect the Thopter Foundry.
Yeah, Thopter combo is how he's trying to win this game.
Oh, Couch, that's so smart. We could have definitely just read that.
Oh, I forgot there was an action box. I'm not used to playing on MTGO.
We're not Moto players.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Hylian.
Hey, welcome back. Is this Kozilek getting a cast trigger?
I really hope so. Kozilek is so good in this deck because you can counter it, but your opponent still draws 4 cards.
Yeah,
I think Chuba was 2-1 when he had to drop.
As a counterspell enjoyer, cast triggers feel bad.
Surrogates will play sometime. I'm gonna get a deck together, I think.
I still need you to build me a Salvage Titan deck.
I still want to build you a Salvage Titan deck.
Ooh, can we check in on Dingus really quick? There's some stuff happening. He looks like he's getting cooked by Troy Monster, but I think he's actually gonna win the game.
Glacial Chasm, do that.
So he made a dude, and look, he's gonna untap, sack our Chasm.
Oh my god.
And then Bear Storm him. Cast the bears. Let's go. I'm sorry for
a quick turnaround.
No.
Oh man. Is it a Moonsnare prototype?
Metallic Rebuke.
I mean, I'm voting for Troy here, so.
I hated seeing that. You know what the worst part is?
Nice.
We could have played Fortified Village, tapped Sylvan Ranger, put Forest into play, and played around it.
All right, we're gonna go back.
Okay, back to the other game.
I'm very invested in this.
But yeah, we won't talk about it.
It was so good. That was such a good game. I thought he had the Moonsnare prototype to tech the 2020.
Yep,
Yeah, it
it's
is
so
asparagus because it's banned.
yeah.
Someone was
Yeah, the
playing
secret to this format.
Zero Land Dredge today.
Yeah, Hadel was. How did he finish his last?
I think he's
What did
still
he do in
in.
round four?
Let's take a little quick look.
Um,
I think it was X1.
he lost to High Tide. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's tough because you literally can't do anything on turn one with Manaless Dredge.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And there's
bud.
no Poxwalkers, so your Cabal therapies aren't so good. Actually, I don't know if
No,
there are
it's banned
therapies in the
in
list.
modern asparagus, which is where I would see play. You should take a look at Hadel's deck though. It's sweet.
I'll
Hadel,
drop it, and if you, well, that's simply a skill issue, Hadel. Sorry to hear that.
yeah.
All right, so what's really been going on here?
So
Um,
Nighttime's been playing this really carefully. Like he could have jammed the Zirda and gone for infinite mana, but like he knew his opponent had to have something. So instead, he just has been like he knew that his Hogak or not Hogak, he knew that his Kozilek wouldn't resolve, but like it was really important that he drew the cards. Like this is a grindy attrition matchup, and Ugin has been going a long way towards helping him through it. But like if he
yeah,
can actually clear Doug out of cards, then that Crawling Barons will win. Doug does not have like Doug has a playset of Swords of Plowshares and a Vindicate. That's it. Crawling
it's
Barons is a
hard, and
great win con.
Doug has a lot of card advantage spells. Like, imagine he riffs a Skeletal Scrying here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think getting rid of the Zerda makes sense because Zerda is just such a threat based on the combo potential. And it's also a 3/2 creature here. Oh, something's
Before the
happening.
companion update, Zirda was so cool because it was a 3 mana 3/3. Like there's an efficient beater you could curve into.
Yeah, and here Preston just sneaks in a couple activated abilities, kind of on the house.
Yeah, he's using his Crawling Barons for 2 mana as many times as he can before Zirda dies.
Yep. Doug can cook up a new Thopter here if he so chooses, which could perhaps pressure the Ugin. He could try to trade with a 2/2.
Does he need the mana filtering at all? Does he have anything with double white?
That's a fine question. He's got one Shadow of the Sky in the board, and that is it. And it looks like the Danithas are sideboard as well. I hadn't realized that.
Oh, we just see him bring him in so often.
Oh, so he's yeah, we're getting rid of the Thopter Sword. And perhaps what Preston, Nighttime Extreme, is saying there is that the only thing he's worried about losing to is like a Sword of the Meek off the rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though he loses his Ugin, he has enough going on against zero cards just based on his land base. And
Hmm.
he can crack that Mind Stone. He's got a card in there as well. Oh gosh.
One
Okay.
of the most awkward possible draws, but it's not a terrible one.
It's bad and it's good, right?
Hmm.
It's gonna get you a skeletal scrying, but man, what if you had just ripped a skeletal scrying?
Exactly. The magic of tutors and magic. It's cool. I that's one like Mystical Tutor is Demonic Tutor is stupid. Mystical Tutor is one of the best designed magic cards.
I can't believe Mystical Tutor is just like low enough to see play.
It's an uncommon. It's an uncommon in Mirage.
Yeah,
It was an uncommon in 6th edition.
yeah. My good friend Everett, he's been rocking it in High Tide lately. He has been crushing with that deck.
It's good in
So
high tide. It depends on how many cantrips you're running, but like you don't need a lot. I love this Moon
yep.
Silver key.
Gets Mind Stone, it gets the combo cards. We don't need the monolith anymore. I wonder if Preston could consider playing Recommission. Does Recommission get back Zerda?
Yes.
It's
It's
up to 3 mana,
yep.
right? Okay. Preston is one of the best brewers in this format in our area, I would say. He's cooked up some really serious decks. Everything from like playing the first Hypergenesis list that I saw to like shamans. He's played some really cool Hull Breacher, Burning Inquiry style decks. Just really, really a
Hmm.
lot of cool stuff coming out of that noggin.
Man,
And
I really want to
look,
build land of control now. I'll put Salvage Titans in
this
the sideboard.
this has to be Skeletal Scrying, right? There's no other option.
All right, he's got 4 or 5. I think it's got to be, but how much do you pay into the skeletal scry? Like, so you can
Like
still.
enough to leave up counterspell plus you leave 3 mana up because it leaves up
Yeah,
counterspell, swords to plowshares, and thirst for knowledge. I think.
that sounds
One,
right.
two,
I'm
three,
kind of
four, five, six,
surprised
seven,
this
eight,
deck
nine, 10,
doesn't
11.
run a single copy of Sphinx's. Like, I love Skeletal Scrying, but it does not stack with itself.
Um, Vegas, I haven't seen it in a while. That was actually the first deck I built in paper, and Spencer, who goes by Pen Guy, he played Burn tonight, but he was a champion of it. I've not seen someone play it since Generous Int began to exist, and I think that's a
Oh.
huge upgrade. And holy shit, Doug disagrees with us, by the way. He
I mean, if he's
look,
living,
he's not under that much pressure. He's got blockers.
he's
He's got that Swords of Plowshares, and he drew a freaking Sol Ring.
in a balance.
Balance not looking so good post Skeletal Scrying. Do you? I don't know if you even play the Sol Ring.
Let's see. You can Sol Ring Sword of the Meek? Yeah, I think you're right.
I also want to go on record and say that although he tutored for it, so he could have accomplished it with one Skeletal Scrying looked infinitely better than Dig Through Time there.
Skeletal Scrying was great there. The next, like, it's just you can't cast more than one skeletal. Like, the next one's going to be really bad. Uh,
That is a good point.
like, I'm not trying to talk people out of playing Skeletal Scrying. I'm trying to talk people out of playing free Skeletal Scrying.
I can respect that. I spent a lot of time trying to tell Doug to play Zero, and I've got egg on my face.
So, like, I think that would be better as one Skeletal Scrying, one Dig Through Time, one Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, Abathur. Doug has been a Danitha enjoyer for a little while.
That is a Danitha. Yeah, Tyrant.
So one thing I want to point
that's what you
out,
should do.
one thing I really want to point out in Preston's deck is he is really leveraging the fact that there's not a lot of interaction for lands in this format.
Which is surprising. Like, there, you can play Demolition Field, you can play Ghost Quarter.
But why would you?
Well, after
Abathur,
today,
check out this list. I just sent you Preston's current list.
there's a Dark Depths deck here today.
This is the first time anyone's actually played it in any event.
I think you do cycle Ash Barrens here just to not draw another land.
Yeah, you 100% cycle it because you have to rip gas.
Yeah, what I think he just wants to balance this turn.
Did he manifold key one of those? He did. Oh no, he manifold keyed the Crawling Barrens.
Oh, yeah.
Is Doug deciding to perhaps trade with one of them? Let's go, Doug.
Yeah, because he needs to keep one alive so that he can play the Danitha and then balance.
I don't think he. I feel like balance may not get cast. What he really wants here, I think, is a thirst for knowledge.
So Island puts in Island, Soul Ring, Danitha, balance.
Okay, yeah, Danitha puts in the Sword of the Meek. Maybe it's fine.
Yeah. And you may even just keep the Sword of the Meek in hand to get the I mean, you're gonna pitch it to balance. Because like you're gonna discard some cards, but balance does sack too many lands. You're right.
I don't. Yeah, it's hard to say.
4,
Doug is
5.
he's a very good balance caster though. I have a hard time telling when it's good to put balance in a deck. I think he cycles here. Yeah.
Yes, Asparagus. Link it.
Let's go. I wonder what game this is. Thirst for Knowledge. That might change everything. Doug could assemble Thopter combo right here.
All right, I'm gonna take a quick look at. Oh, this is hot.
It gets the voltage.
All right, real quick.
He's got another Thirst. So if Doug plays the Danitha,
Once Upon a Time is legal.
Once Upon a Time is very legal.
Romantic Core and Soul Flare, love it. Urborg Scavengers is also a hot card out of Aftermath. It's a Soul Flare light.
These two Thirst for Knowledges have not been very good to Doug.
We'll take another look, Asparagus. I'm so glad. We'll get Max in here with the Soul Flare list.
So let's talk this board state. Mistress Factory makes attacker number 3. Oh my god, that duress is so good. So now Doug has the option to play Danitha, which means he'll only get hit by a manifold keyed 2/2, and Doug will go to 1, and then
Yeah.
potentially gain life up. Because if Doug balances here, he would take 2 damage off the freshly created Mistress Factory.
Yeah.
And he gets to get back. Look, he discarded that sword, but he chooses to leave it.
So Nighttime is looking for a removal spell or another manifold key.
Or, hear me out, a Kozilek the Great Distortion.
How many does he run?
He's on 2. They're about $3 each.
Uh,
So he's got $6 and some cents bound up in them, but I think that's very worthwhile.
It is. I mean, that's like a good win condition, but it's showing us how good it is in this control matchup too.
Yeah.
But like a
And,
key
okay,
also does. Kozilek doesn't do it. Kozilek doesn't win the game.
well, but it draws you 7 cards.
It
so it's
does
probably
do
good
that.
enough.
But I don't think that's even close to good enough because there's a balance.
Oh, I forgot about balance. That changes things. Yeah,
Balance always changes things.
it does.
Hello. That's a nice sideboard tech.
I think Doug's gonna attack just to gain life and hope that the Steel Hellkite eats it.
Yeah,
Do you think Preston will play around balance? I think he will. Preston's brain is
I
enormous.
mean, he's keeping 2 cards in hand, and he has been for a long time. And one of those is a land, and like most people would just jam the land. But like he's had that land for many turns, and we know it because of the Inquisitions. I think he's been playing around balance for the whole game.
That's a good point. Infinity, I just linked the list. It's super hot.
And Nighttime Tech is so cool. It's Zirda and like Zirda, Basalt Monoliths, and Crawling Barons. It's really good. Moon Silver Key out of Midnight Hunt.
Oh, he can jam the Sword of the Meek on the Danitha. That's allowed.
Oh, that's really good.
But you can buff Steel Hellkite, so there's a lot going on here.
Because Steel Hellkite gets +X+O, and Danitha's got first strike.
Still. Oh, you're right. Yeah, so it's just not going to matter. So this takes us off the balance plan, but this looks spicy. WTH. I'm screen capping that for Preston.
Yeah, he'll be happy. Yeah, there's so many cool decks here, Asparagus. We've got like 8 flavors of combo, 4 flavors of control, 10 flavors of aggro.
Yeah, and he's doing it.
I mean, he's got it.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess he has to.
The lands hurts.
Isn't he just dead to Steel Hellkite plus Pump?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Really, really tough fight here for both players.
So his opponent does have to choose between Urza's Factory and the Lethal Hellkite. No, he doesn't. Hellkite just pumps.
Yeah, and yeah, oof. It was so close. If that Mystical Tutor had been a turn sooner, or if it had just straight up been that Skeletal Scrying.
I think the only deck we have multiple copies of is Affinity.
Yeah, there's like 3.
Yeah, but they're pretty different, actually. You got the Nettlesis build.
It's partially my fault for lending an Affinity deck, you know what I mean? I could have bought weirder decks.
Good. That was a good match. All right, who's
that
still
was a
playing?
really good match. I suspect that's the round, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. One sec. All right, so this is Asparagus' deck that he just got together. I really like it.
Let's go. I got a message, Preston.
Whoops. What did I do with that? That's what I should have done. Okay, so that was the last match. Let's submit these. Anybody else? Hey, does anyone need to drop before the final round? We are on the last. This is the last round.
All right, Doug is dropping. Yeah, Doug, we caught that. Thank you so much for playing, Doug.
You
I know
sure?
you're very busy, so I always appreciate when you can make it.
I think
So
Doug's still
Doug is
alive for
out.
prizes.
He is
Uh,
dropping.
top top 8 prize. So
You
3,
dropped
2
Doug.
can prize.
Wait, hold on, stop. Don't drop Doug.
I didn't drop Doug yet.
Doug is gonna still play. He's live for prize.
Yeah, Doug, you are live. Things got to go just right, but you are live for prizes. Some 3-2s will prize just due to how a few other winners had to drop.
Okay.
Actually, hang on. One. Yes, a lot of 3-2s will prize. The prize is arena gems. All right, so Doug lost 2-1 or 2-0.
But he is not. Yeah, 2-0. Stop. Doug did not get a win. It's 2-0.
Okay.
Yeah, Preston won 2-0. Yep.
Let
Sorry.
me just make sure I didn't drop Doug and forget about it.
I don't. Doug doesn't even play arena, but he does love to win things.
I get it. I get it. So Doug, you are in 7th right now at 2-2. All right, so we've got CD and Blue in the finals. So if one or both of you could stream, I'd really appreciate it.
Wow, and this is just gonna be a straight up race.
For real.
Two crazy combo decks. Um. Alrighty. Hadel's fighting to take Manaless Dredge to a positive record. Doug's playing Affinity.
Okay, everybody. The final round pairings are up now. Go ahead and find your opponent if you don't have an opponent by 8:22 or X22. Let me know.
Servo, this is the last round.
This is the final round.
Hey, Sparks, thanks for coming by. I'm excited to see you next time we're on Moto. And definitely feel free to post things in the Vintage Brewing channels whenever. We'd love to discuss them.
And now I have MTGO, so I can test with you too. See you later, buddy. Yeah, we had a really good turnout, Abathur. We'll do this again for sure. We also had a good turnout. Like, we've had at least 35 viewers for almost the whole stream, and we've had a lot of ups from there.
Yeah, that's like definitely a little bit on the high side, right?
Speaking of, you said high tide, right? Looks like regrowth is what's in high tide now, alongside all for sale into the Wests.
Oh, it's this high tide list? I didn't realize this was a blue-green list.
One regrowth and all for sale into the West seems really cool.
That's cool. Did we have how many high tide players did we have today?
I think only 2. We might have only had 1.
Yeah.
All right. Who was streaming? Newlon? Yeah, let's watch a Newlon.
Damn, I needed my city to show up so I wouldn't have to ship this Fate Reforged box. But Cincinnati let me down, and now I gotta buy postage for this thing.
Yeah. The green splash is sweet, Abathur.
It's so frustrating that the prairie stream cycle, like of lands, the tangos, I think they're called. It's so annoying that it's not complete. No, so you actually have the wrong high tide list. This is Watcher in the finals, right?
Yeah, sorry, that was just the first one that I saw.
That was Shadaro's from a week ago.
Is he keeping this? Oh, I thought he was keeping a Zero Lander, which would have been awesome.
Watcher's list is crazy. He has like Twin Cast and Lutri, no Mind's Desire, which I think is absurd. But he's in the finals, and I sure am not in the finals. So what can I say?
Well, let's see how it plays.
If he rips Mana Source, is this the turn 2?
This is a turn. I think it's a turn 2 without Mana Source.
You're right. Yeah, just attack and then Blazing Shoal. I gotta say, High Tide cannot turn 1.
Yeah, we've seen it turn 2.
That is quite a lot of tabs. Oh, that's fair.
He's just seeing what his opponent can do here.
Yeah, check for any interaction. Hey, it's an open deck list format.
Yeah.
It's his right.
Disrupt would be so good here.
You say what?
He's running a disrupt, and it's like disrupt is the only
Oh
thing.
yeah.
It's the only card you can have right now. Is
Okay, Watchwander is known in Penny Dreadful for hating Mind's Desire. Weird broken discount double checks. I love the Penny Dreadful players showing up. This is so sick. I hope you guys keep coming out and keep bringing this crap.
So
These decks
how did
are
the Penny Dreadful players hear about this format?
Penny Dreadful players. That's a really cool question. How did you find us?
Hmm.
Let's go, Resto Kiki.
Double discount check lands. I'm
I'm
just
always
curious.
so curious when I'm always curious when new people or new groups start finding their way into the Discord because I have no idea where people come from.
This is a Penny. So these are both Penny Dreadful players.
Yeah, Penny Dreadful players are showing up and making Cincinnati players look like shit.
I don't know. I love it. They kind of they came in with some new stuff.
Yeah,
New
no,
blood's
we
always
haven't
good.
been. Apparently, we haven't been monitoring Penny Dreadful as much as we should have been. That's our bad.
Duo Cat, she was here. She's also a Penny Dreadful player.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, cool. Thank you, Tyrant, for spreading that over there.
Oh,
Through
thank
the
you so much.
Pioneer Discord.
Tyrant is one of there's a lot of the back end for playing MTG.
Yeah, I love
This is
that.
why we need an ambassador program for all the Discords.
I was gonna say, like, my issue with Discord is it feels like isolated islands or like secret basements. You know what I mean? There's like
yeah. Well,
high tide
okay. The
basement.
first one is way more flattering.
Yeah, but it's Discord, so like honestly, Discord is basically basements full of nerds.
No, man, that's what Mumble was. No. Hey, Discord is isolated island. That's what we're going with.
But like, why is there discoverability on Discord? Like,
so there is now. Discord has made a lot of changes lately. So like, you have to have 1,000 people in your server before you can make yourself discoverable. Good thing, Chase. Let me get you out here, or let me drop you. Oh wait, I don't have to drop you. This is round 5. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for playing. Always really stoked to have you here, man. Always excited to see Rakdos Flourish put up results. So
yeah.
Thanks for coming by.
Next time, everybody, we will be starting it earlier so that we can do a cut to top 8.
Yeah, man. If people are going to show up, if we're going to have 21 people, we're going to have to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like 24 is where I would be real. Like between 24 and 32 is where I'd really want to have a cut. And anything over 40 should always have a cut.
Hey, Scuffle, can you check on Troy Monster?
Yes, I can.
He's not showed up to his game. All right, cool. Thank you. I don't know where they're at in time. I assume it's probably not a loss. Let's try and be generous if we can.
Yeah. He is not at a loss.
Okay, excellent.
Oh, it looks like he's showing up right now. Yep. Yeah, I just jumped over his stream. It looks like he's good. Looks like his hand is nutty.
Sweet.
All right, back to this game.
I really want to see this high tide list go off because it's so incredibly different from the high tide lists I've seen previously.
He really tanked on this keep. He's on 5 cards. Double spoils is interesting. Like you can one spoils the ball is usually enough per game, but it looks like he's really thinking about whether he keeps any of them.
Yeah, we're putting a second one back. We're keeping Spirit Guide. So I don't know if I agree with that because you're going to draw lands more often than you're going to draw combo pieces, right?
Well, but you can't play 2 spoils. You'll die.
Oh, I guess that is part of it.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, 1 spoils of the vault. Like, I agree with you. Like, he could gamble here, but if he'll die if he casts. Like, you will lose 10 life playing spoils of the vault.
Well, we're gonna cast 2 this game. So. Do you think he's gonna instep a spoils or okay? Because he can hold up guttural response so he doesn't get turn 2'd.
Yes. All you have to do is counter the first high tide, and it doesn't win the game, but it buys a whole turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna post this high tide list. I have no idea what the turn 2 percentage on this list is like. I really have not had a chance to try and understand this list.
I think it works as long as you have a Cloud of Fairies and a high tide, or a snap and a target in a high tide.
Well, this one's different. I think that Lutri makes infinite mana somehow, but I haven't really thought about
Well,
it.
you have to cast it.
Holy shit, disrupt on spoils.
Oh, you can Lutri Snap.
Yep. You put Snap on the stack and then. So
Yeah.
we're taking Cacophony Scamp because Cacophony Scamp doesn't need a thud. Holy shit, we took a lot of damage.
Yeah,
Ew.
it is really, really difficult to cast the second spoils of the vault.
Yeah, I think I underestimated how much damage. I was like, what is that?
That's one of my
7
favorite
damage?
cards. Like that is a true that is a gambling card.
Called shot. I think he's gonna cast the second. No, you can't cast it at 3 life. Never mind.
You can if you have no choice.
Oh, so I think you just hold up guttural response here until you find the kill, probably.
Well, you can only tap Sulphurous Springs 4 more times this game. Because he doesn't have it. He gets to cast 4 more spells with that card. He doesn't have any colorless mana attached to anything. Like,
Yeah,
he didn't even play the Phoenix chick this turn. Because he can't.
right. So Cacophony Scamp, it sacks itself for an additional 10 damage, right? That's how this works.
Equal to its power. So yeah.
So he just has to find a big creature.
Like if
Or a
Watch
big like
if
a
Watch
salvo.
Wander taps out at all, I mean this is lethal.
Do you just do it? You just do it.
I think
right?
you got it. You mulligan to 5. You can't spoils.
And you have guttural response up.
And but you can't. Yeah, you can.
You can because we don't actually have to cast the thud. So yeah, I'm gonna go for it here on a mull to 5 when we're like already off
Yeah.
of spoils.
And Watcher has to have 2 answers here.
Yeah, the disrupt is already gone. I don't think there's that much interaction. I know there's a repeal
They
in the
do
list.
run an actual counterspell main deck.
That's 2 counter spells. Oh, snap! Snap's a problem.
That's really big.
I always forget that High Tide gets to interact with creatures. Yeah, good call, Tyrant.
Blue Elemental Blast. They run through. So they sideboard is. They probably sided in all 3 Blue Elemental Blasts and the counterspell and Disrupting Shoal and both Echoing Tree.
I would go Spell Pierce before Echoing. Holy shit, a High Tide?
He's gonna go off in response.
Let's go. I've played a decent amount of High Tide. I've actually never gone off at instant speed.
It's really easy with Candelabra of Tanos.
Yeah, it's harder with Mind's Desire, which my lists were always Turbo Mind's Desire decks. He has 27 instants. He's cutting himself off of Cloud of Fairies and
Oh my
Bond
god,
of
he's
Insight.
committing the shoal.
Okay, but he has Counterspell mana up. I think he has
He
a
does.
Counterspell. Let's go. Okay, snap.
That's way better.
Okay, but now High Tide is on 3 cards. Having the commit in the graveyard changes the things because if his cards are just like High Tide, Cloud of Fairies, Snap, he could still theoretically do it. But 3 cards is not a lot of resources for High
No,
Tide.
it's not. But he might just like I was gonna say cast a draw spell here. But I thought it was gonna be a Blue Sun Zenith.
Shields are down, but I don't think there's any world there's a kill here. We're too many cards off.
Nealon can only tap that Sulphur Spring 3 times. 2 times.
It's starting to add up. And the thing is, we don't even really want to draw another land because that's kind of a it doesn't get us closer to combo.
So he can Spoils of the Vault here to dig for another land. A mountain. To see there's a mountain on top of his library.
I gotta look at this deck list if we're gonna talk about that line.
I mean, it's 2 life. He can go to 1. He needs the land.
Another thud.
I think you got it. I think he spoils for a mountain here.
Because you think there's just no chance.
I think there's no chance without a second land. And I think there's no chance without a second land this turn.
That's a fair point.
Like, it's such a long shot. But I think it's actually less of a long shot than letting your opponent untap.
I think that's a fair point. Because honestly, there's kind of quite a lot. There's quite a lot of interaction in High Tide at this point, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Ooh, just doing it now. Screw it.
That's
Bond of
cool.
Insight is a crazy setup card. Picking up like High Tide and Snap is insane.
Yeah. And it
Picking
lets
up
you,
Dig Through Time's insane.
like, we've watched the other high tide players play, and they have to hold their high tides for the going off turns. But we've seen Watch Wander just use high tide in order to get more spells played in a given turn.
Yeah, I will say we. Oh, he loops the Bond to mill. Bond plus Twin Cast.
Makes sense.
Huh. And the Blue Sun Zenith is so the Blue Sun Zenith is like a backup. It's not the primary.
Like, if you draw enough cards, you can Lutri Snap and then Blue Sun Zeniths. It's a safer kill, but
This is cool.
Makes
Yeah,
fewer
Resto, this
cards.
is really cool.
I like it.
I like this Watch Wander character. He can stay in the Discord. I like his style. We'll keep him.
All right, you can no longer tap Sulphurous Springs.
I
Does
also
Watch
feel like
Wander
we got
have
some-
Watch Wander? You know what's lethal right now is a Cloud of Fairies.
Yeah,
Watch Wander or Nulon cannot beat at this point in time a Cloud of Fairies.
so we're learning some really interesting fundamental philosophical information about CD Nolan.
There you go.
Because
There
last
you go.
turn,
There you go.
there you go. Last turn he cast the Phoenix Chick because he was playing to the very end. Some people the turn prior would have gone down to 1 and cast a Spoils of the Vault.
Well, does Nulon know his opponent's deck? Because I feel like you may even want, like, Bolt is actually fairly disruptive.
I think they're basically on the same brewing team because they're both coming from Penny Dreadful. I suspect they're in between 1 and 3 group chats together. Is what I'm gauging based on this.
Yeah, but
So I
Bolt-
think they probably are pretty familiar with each other's lists. Scuffle, I feel like you've got a good answer to this. The most illegal move you've seen an opponent attempt?
I mean, I have caught people drawing multiple cards in a turn. I have caught people manipulating their libraries and shuffling. How literal do you want? I had
Okay.
somebody play Strahazad off of Vidakan Orrery in response to a Wrath of God, and then use Burning Wish in the sub game to pull Wrath of God off the stack in the primary game.
Hylian, you're not gonna understand that, but that's pretty fucked. I was at a modern tournament. This was a Winnegoif back when Goifs were a big deal, so there were
Yeah.
like 35 people playing in it. And I got to round I was in round 4. I think I was just spectating or something.
This is our first
But
Chancellor
in-
for it.
Yeah. In round 4, I saw someone cast a Seething Song to put a Goblin Charbelcher into play, and it was either me or someone else said, "Hold on a second. I don't think you can play Seething Song." And it was in fucking round 4, Scuffle. No one had said anything.
Oh my god.
And you want to know the craziest thing? His Seething Song Goblin Charbelcher deck wasn't a Charbelcher deck. It was Goblin Tribal. And he just put Charbelcher in it because it had the word Goblin on it. There was one copy.
Oh, I did have at the Gatecrash pre-release, I had somebody put all of his worm tokens into his deck. He just shuffled them up. It's like, why wouldn't I? They're great. They are all free 6/6s.
I have heard of that happening across lots of Magic players. It's kind of like tapping Llanowar Elf to put a basic forest into play, right?
Yeah.
Wayward Guide Beast doesn't have a downside if you don't have lands in play.
Pro tip.
Wow, that's smart.
He's not even going for the shoal here because, like, he doesn't need to.
Well, because I think he thinks that he can let Watchwander attempt to go off, stop him with a guttural response, and then perhaps kill him.
I think you're right. He can shoal with the guttural response up here. Heck yeah, Servo.
Didn't we see you ultimate one of those last time we played?
I think we saw him do it in paper.
Yeah.
Today you got to do it on Moto. But yeah, the Strahazad thing was the most illegal legal play I've ever seen. They brought like 8 judges to the table to discuss if it worked.
Holy barf.
Yeah, so if you missed it, everybody, Hylian asked what the most illegal play I've seen was. The most illegal legal play was somebody had a Vidocan Orrery out, which gives things flash, and somebody cast a Wrath of God, and then the opponent responded by playing a
Oh,
Shahrazad.
oh, we're going for it.
Oh, I think I would for sure.
Yeah, because Watch Wander's going to need some type of free interaction or 1 mana generation, right? Because we have Guttural Response up.
Hmm. We can also spoil the vault for a second Blazing Shoal in an emergency.
Oh, that's really interesting, but I feel like that
We didn't
opens up
need
some
to.
weird niche ways to lose. I think just the guttural response is good.
It's not. This was
GG's.
Judgment. This was it wasn't even Commander, it was Prismatic. Which, if you're really old, you know what Prismatic was.
All right. CD takes it down.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
Well done, CD. That was a great tournament. We're gonna watch a few more matches, but that was a treat.
Yeah. I want to check on Dingus. He's playing against Burn right now.
This is a really good match. It
Yeah,
was really
Tyrant,
fun to watch. It was
that deck
cool.
seemed messed up.
It was cool having two decks that I had not seen before in the finals.
Yeah.
But we hope you'll come back for future events. We had a lot of time, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. He's getting close to making a 2020, and he
I
probably
think
won't die.
I think we're gonna have our next one on the 9th. Wait, is it 16th, Rusty? When is Columbus?
Columbus ends on Labor Day. I think we're gonna try to do it on Saturday the 9th then.
Yeah, sorry, it'll probably be the 9th.
Do
But
you
we'll do
think
it
that
monthly.
is Scuffle? That's release weekend for Wilds of Eldraine, right?
Release is okay. Pre-release, nobody goes to release. People go to pre-release.
Wilds of Eldraine pre-release MTG.
Pre-release is the first. September
Yeah,
1st.
because it's at SCG Columbus is the
Oh, yeah. Pre-release is the first. Following week is the release, and no one cares anymore.
okay, sweet.
People
All
don't
right,
do
let's dive
release
into this game
events.
for a second. So Scuffle has, or sorry, not Scuffle. Ian has blockers for days, and is gonna untap. Probably keep that around. I think. I don't know. Is 4 life worth it, or do you just let your opponent burn you some?
It only prevents combat damage, right?
No, you can't take damage.
I mean, it. I don't think it is because as long as you're blocking, your opponent is going to burn you with those spells anyway.
Right, you have to eat 13 damage, and you're gonna have to sack it. The only way it would be worthwhile is so you go to 9, and then you make the 2020. All right, he keeps it. Play the Dark Depths. Um, so the only thought is like you could potentially overload your opponent's mana because they're gonna have to burn you at instant speed because we're gonna make the 2020 on their end step and then kill them in our combat phase.
I need to get more water. I'll be right back. I'm gonna leave
Oh,
things to you for a moment. Yeah.
he fades the Rift Bolt here. I didn't know there was a suspended Rift Bolt, so he really only paid 1
Oh.
additional life.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't see the
That
Rift
was
Bolt
smart.
either. I'll be right back.
Yeah, yeah. I'll hold it down. This lands deck has looked functional, I gotta say. I'm gonna play this in paper on Monday at our local. Um, I think I'll play this exact list. I don't think there are changes I want to make. I may remove a couple of the fade from Antiquity because Servo doesn't live close to me. Uh, when was the last time I shilled? Yo, that's a great question, Hylian. I think everyone who's here knows what we're doing at this point. It's $30 budget vintage. But let me drop this link tree, guys. The anyone who's new, follow that link tree. There's a lot of cool stuff in it. There is a Channel Fireball article that Servo wrote, which is insane. And there is a Discord link in there so you can join in and you can chat with us, brew some, and get in on the next tournament. Preston, what do you think's going to go up in your list? Kozilek's might start rising again. So we made the 2020, we sacked the Glacial Chasm, and I think my good friend Ian is going to be the hero of this story. Look, Servo, no one has played One Deaths yet. I know we did some theory crafting, but no one's played it before tonight. Um, it's sick that it's functional. Oh, Mystic Forge. Mystic Forge is down really low though, and Your formatting on that money is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I think that means 30 cents. We are not dead to this fire blast, right? We're just taking 7 damage here, going to 2.
Okay,
If
I'm
we
back.
had, so we got fire blasted, and
Ah,
we're down to 2. Let's go, dude. Preston, I can't believe that. I can't believe Ugin is sub $1,
yeah, that was a
and
surprise. I mean,
so Newland found Cheapo through Dash Rubino, who found it through Twitter. That's crazy. I did not think we had very much reach on Twitter.
yeah, I mean, I get
You've
like,
got a decent amount, and then I'm there.
yeah, I mean, like, I haven't been posting that much because I had 2,000 followers on Twitter. I'm down to 1,800 followers on Twitter. And according to my metrics, it's almost all just from account deletions. People just quit Twitter, which is
Yeah.
totally fair. I'm only on Twitter because I make content.
Yeah. Is that the tournament scuffle? Are we
I
done here?
think Troy is still going.
Oh yeah, because they got started. We have not actually featured very much of Hadel's list, so let's.
Yeah, let's take a look. So Hadel is playing Manaless Dredge. No lands.
Let's dredge. I'll post the list. Hadel's a big dredge guy. He's
I
I
love
met him at
Dredge.
SCG Columbus, I believe, and he got out like his laptop and started like typing in numbers and doing math to figure out the dredge list for our format.
Doug and the Infinity are still playing, and Nulon just beat the Watcher to Blue Watch Wander 2-1. Ooh, how cheap is the Docking Shackles right now? That is Blue Watch Wander's profile picture.
Ooh, I suspect it's not available, but
It was like $6 last time I looked, so
okay.
probably still relevantly high, but not impossible.
Yeah. Quebec, thank you so much for playing. Really stoked to have you here.
Dude,
And
your
thank
deck
you again
was
for the
sweet,
moto help
Quebec.
earlier.
I loved your deck.
Yeah, the deck was good. We got to watch some and it looked like you were playing it really well. So hope to see you at the next one for sure.
Like, that's right, Servo. Lands are a crutch.
Servo barely plays lands. You play like what, 15 in Affinity? But circling back to Twitter, I met Anurag Das at SCG Columbus
Well,
and
let's
spoke
get
to him
him in
about the
here.
format briefly. And he threw out a retweet on one of our tournament announcements. I really want to get him to play in one. I feel
What do
like
you
he
even
would
get?
like it. If anyone knows him, he's streaming right now. If anyone knows him, you should bother him. Uh,
Here, I'll pull it
this
up for
deck
you.
does not really cast its spells. Do you want to pull up the list and talk through this
No,
one?
I'm gonna pull up some cards because I want to watch this match.
That's fair.
All right, so what you do is you go Phasmogorian,
Phantasmagorian.
Phantasmagorian,
Hylian, don't bother him in LSV.
Phantasmagorian. This card doesn't exist. Never mind, the deck doesn't work. So you use all these cards like Nether Shadow.
We'll pull up the deck perhaps after the match and talk about it.
At the beginning of your upkeep, if Nether Shadow is in your graveyard with 3 or more creature cards above it, put it into play. And Icarate is similar. You can exile a black card creature other than Icarate from your graveyard and return it to play. And then you use Bridge from Below. Whenever a non-token creature put in your graveyard from the battlefield, if it's in your graveyard, make a zombie. And when a creature is put into your opponent's graveyard from play, you exile it. And then Prized Amalgam is a 3/3 for 3. When if at the beginning of your end step, if a creature was put into play from the graveyard, you can return it to play. And then Narcomoeba, I don't know why it's in Spanish. Weird. All right, when it's put in your graveyard from your library, you put it into play, and then you use Dredge creature. So what you do is you say, "I'm gonna go second." What? Why are my cards in Spanish all of a sudden? Hi, Sandy. Yes. So you go to 8 cards in hand, so you can never mulligan. The deck can't mulligan because you draw 7 cards, draw a card for your turn, go to 8, go to N7, discard a card from your hand. ideally one with dredge. So dredge 6, if you draw a card, you may mill 6 cards instead and return it to your hand. And then you just mill your cards for the rest of the game. What are you up to tonight, Sandy? I thought you'd be streaming.
I think that's the tournament. I think that concludes all of our matches. Doug got bested by Affinity, played by Infinity.
2-0-2-1. Yeah, it can't mulligan. If you mulligan, you lose. Thank you. Then Troy just took down Hadel. All right, that is the tournament, everybody. Nice work.
That's the tournament.
That is the
What
tournament.
was that, 3.5 hours?
That's pretty good. But
Yeah.
before I finalize the bracket, Doug got 2-0'd.
Yeah, the Shoal deck took it down.
All right, great.
Yeah, the finals were Penny Dreadful Shoal versus Penny Dreadful High Tide. And that means that this Fate Reforged Fat Pack is going to be making its way over to CD. I'll have to get some contact info out of him.
Quebec, I have a Cube article that will teach people to draft Cube quickly, coming out on Monday. And then I will also be doing Cube drafts ahead of the Cube Open.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. All right. I think that's right. We're going to finalize the bracket, everybody.
Let's go. Yeah, let's see our top 8.
The Shodan got first.
Sure did. Standings, 5 wins. Holy shit, Preston came in second. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because Preston's insane, but his deck was so off the wall.
So this is our top 4. Servo got third with Affinity. High Tide got 4th. Really cool High Tide build. Quebec, Troy both prized. That looks pretty good.
I gotta say, shout out to Dingus for playing to a 9th place finish with that lands deck. That's pretty good.
So it looks like 3-2 and better got prize.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and pay out that bracket really quick. And then everybody, I'm going to do one draft and call it a night to finish out the tournament. If anyone's
keeping score, there were 3 Affinity decks in the top 8.
So this is the payout. This is a heads up.
Dude, that's a lot of prize, right?
It's pretty good.
Scuffle, what does it cost to buy 10,000 gems if you're buying them at like the $20?
4,000 gems, I think, is 30. Anybody know for sure?
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that.
So how does Matcherino get these? Are they sponsored by?
These are from Wizards of the Coast. Matcherino, we use Matcherino. You put in applications, and people of a certain stream level can apply to get gems from Wizards of the Coast.
Okay, well, that makes me like them a little bit more. Yeah.
We might hit. Nice. There's a very good chance we hit the next prizing tier for gems in the future.
There's another tier?
There's another tier.
Tell me more.
I think it's 33. I don't remember if there's 2 more tiers or just 1 more tier. Because it's either 33 and 64 or just 64. And I got to double check that.
Okay. You know what? Fun fact. I'll tell one more fun fact, then I'll get off your stream.
You can tell as many fun facts as you want. You can even hang out for the drafts if you want.
Oh. So fun fact that I learned recently, the actual factual paper Vintage Discord, like the primary Discord for Vintage, has like 540 people in it. We have 317 people. I think we can catch them.
I think we will catch them. I think we're a year off of this being, well, I don't want to say Popper size, but I feel like the momentum is comparable to Popper.
I think we'll be able to carve out a happy little niche and have Magic players be aware of this, which is amazing. It's all right, Tyrant. You can't afford Vintage, but you've got us.
And no one can afford Vintage. Like, that's one thing I think a lot of people don't realize about Magic in general, is Vintage has not gained new players in 10 years and will not gain new players ever again.
Yeah, Vintage is made up.
I cannot wait until, like, my dream in Vegas is to have, oh shit, Blazing Shoal just won. Blazing Shoal is going up a whole whole dollar. Because mathematically, like it takes 100 people buying Blazing Shoals for that card to increase in price by $1, and then the deck doesn't stop working, but you may have to swap out some spoils of the vault for something else.
Yeah. If everyone could just buy 50 copies of
Gems are
Whitecomb
paid out.
Adventure.
You should see them tonight. If you don't see your gems tonight, send me a message.
Tyrant specking on Blazing Shoal
It's,
based on the idea that this little random format will get big.
I mean, Blazing Shoals is a good buy in general, but all it takes is one printing under modern print amounts to make that card just cheap, no matter how many people buy it.
Yeah.
Truth, Ganj.
Servo historically does not love all-in combo decks.
I'm actually surprised that Tainted Strike is so cheap. I feel like should be a $2 card.
Because like it's funny to play it on someone else's like big creature or something stupid in Commander. Yeah. Vintage. True vintage is made up. I really do just want to start pilfering the vintage player base. Like, if anyone knows vintage content creators, just make them play this format instead.
All right, everybody, I'm gonna let you vote on what you want me to play. Because you should. I will play Vintage Cube, but MTGO is something I'm bad at. Wait, I actually don't have the tickets for it.
You gotta practice so you can play this.
I just realized I don't have the tickets to play Vintage Cube. So we're gonna do Eldraine while it's still here.
All right, I'm gonna get off your stream. Scuffle, thank you so much for hosting with me. Thank you for having me.
Lots of fun, Rusty. I'll remind me tomorrow and we'll get this exported.
Yeah, if we can get this VOD on YouTube, I think that'll be great.
Yeah.
I got channel fireballed when I was 10 and didn't play until I was 30.
That's what happened to me, but with the art of Stronghold Shade.
Yep.
All right, everybody, the tournament is paid out. Thank you so much for playing today. That's going to be it for the tournament. I'm going to do one Wilds of Eldraine draft to close this out. Maybe Temple wants to play Dark and Dark.
Sweet. All right, good stuff. Scuffle, I'll talk to you later.
Good thing. Good night, Rusty.
All right, night. See you later, buddy. Bye, guys.